why is
You
just
have no
that I
objection.
don't have an objective moral framework. I
No,
don't
you
think
have
that's
no
very strong.
objection. You said I have no objection to this. So there is no
No, I
argument
have
to
an
it.
objection. I don't have I don't think that I have objective moral objection. That's what I'm
I
saying.
think what
But I
Okay.
she's
have an
saying, she
So
has an
let's
objection to you
start.
outcome.
taking.
Wait, just let me really quickly clarify. I think what she's saying, she has an objection from an outcomes based perspective, from a
Right. So I'll grant
Okay.
that too. I'll grant the outcomes just to
And
kind
I
of
would also
further it.
add,
I
Alex,
just
that
want to
it's
let you
also
know
an
that
objection based on my subjective
personal
moral framework.
preferences.
I'd also
Right. I
have an
get it.
objection there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get it. It's your preferences, this type of thing. I just want to let you know that the debate was already over before we began because you have no
And
moral
if you say
reason,
it, just makes it true, for sure.
to claim. You have no moral,
Neither do
absolutely
you.
not one. Yeah, but that's my
Neither do
point.
you.
That's my point. My point is to say,
So
if
it's
I
a
have
draw. So I
it,
just want to know how you
no.
win.
Stop. I'm gonna explain.
Tell me how you win.
I'm gonna
If neither of
explain.
us have an
You have to
objective moral
stop talking
framework,
for
and
long
that
enough
is
for me
what
to
wins
explain
the
it.
debate, you got to answer the question. How come
Because
you win
if we
we're on the
be,
same footing?
I'm going to tell you why. Because if we
Okay, go.
stalemate the board, and you say your worldview is just as valid as my worldview is, and that means that you can't have any objection to my advocation for any of the things that I advocate for. Period. Even if what
Well,
I'm advocating for is a theocracy, that's why. Now, that aside,
okay.
I'm still willing to grant the worldview for the sake of argument. For the consequences, let's start with this. Who is Leonid Radvinsky? Do you know who that is?
I don't know who that is, but I want to go back because I'm not done with the
Hang
other
on.
part of the
I want to let you
conversation.
know that
No,
No? You want to
we're
move
not
back to
done
this
with
and
the
do a
other part of
circle
the
again?
conversation.
Okay, we
No,
can.
we're not done. You can't just move on when I haven't had a chance to respond to you. If you would like to move on, I'll just go back to this and which is going to make the debate longer than it has to be.
Go ahead.
You are literally what is a walking incorrect LSAT question, except it's too incorrect and too easy. It would be a layup LSAT question that nobody going to a first year law school would even get wrong, which is like, oh, you can't prove your subjective moral framework is right, therefore I automatically win. And the question would be, what's wrong with Andrew's argument? It's wrong because just because I can't prove my moral framework, but you also can't prove yours, doesn't mean yours is right. At best, it means it's a draw. So tell me how you win under that metric.
I'm going to tell you why. Because if I come to the exact same ethical system and foundations that I have right now, right this second, those ethical frame systems say to eradicate and eliminate all of your ethical framework. It says to me to do everything that I can possibly do to destroy the degeneracy that you propose for society by any means necessary, essentially. And because you have no objection to doing that, you can't actually object to me doing that.
No,
Do you
because I
understand?
don't have a philosophical objection that's grounded in objective morality. That doesn't mean that I don't have any objection at all. And you still didn't answer the question. If yours is subjective and mine is subjective, how did you win the debate about Christian nationalism being better than secularism? How did you meet that?
Well, so what we're looking at here, we're trying to look at the framework and say, if we're going to look for society, okay, and what are going to be the goals and kind of the outcomes for society that we want, we have to kind of start with what our foundation is going to be. So as we started, you said that the foundation that I have is just as valid as the foundation that you have. Under the purview, yes, but now,
you
hang
don't
on.
have a better philosophical
If you will
framework.
stop, I'll explain the rest.
Let's play. It's pretty easy to understand once you realize. No, it really isn't. Oh my god. Oh shit. Fuck's sake. Oh fucking hell. I'll get rid of this. I'm not gonna play that in a. Yeah. Oh fuck's sake. Don't believe this. Oh my god, how ridiculous.
See, now you need an external hard drive.
I have one, it's just I have so much stuff on there.
You need another one then, the second one. Oh, you've been playing Sea of Thieves?
No, I have. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, but you had it there on the list.
I played it once.
So, did you like it?
Yeah, I had to play one player. I think it would be fun. Yeah, it'd be a nice chill game to play.
Yeah. Maybe I'll load my game up quick. But your fan's back.
Oh yeah, he's back.
Someone
Right.
in the chat. You wanna address them?
Oh great, Smash TV. Fantastic. Go ahead. He's so lame. Smash TV is like what was his real name? Dating Black. No, I forgot what his old name was. He's so lame though, man.
Yeah, I never watch his streams. I only
What
watched
was his
it a
name?
time when he was
MLD.
being-
MLD. Was that his name?
I don't know.
Smash TV wasn't his original name. It was something else.
Tell Dictionary?
MGTOW Dictionary. That's it. That guy was so fucking lame, man. I've forgotten how to invite you.
It's in-game, so it's not on the... Should be friend list on. Not my second. I'll find you. I can always add you.
Yeah, please do, man.
Team. Yeah, okay, send an invite.
Right. Oh crap.
Ah.
It worked. We hope.
But yeah.
Great, alright.
Hey. Guy looks like a twink.
My guy.
Yeah, no, it's just because you're not got much armor and stuff. It's...
I think he looks like a football player.
A lot of football players do look like twinks these days.
Oh, there you go. I've forgotten how to start the game now. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, we can start the second campaign at least. Can we do
Yeah,
difficulty?
that's
Yeah, the difficulty standard. Can I press launch?
well. I think I have to do it because I'm the leader. Right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm the party leader. So we'll do. You can see I had it on extreme, so we'll take it off
Can
extreme.
you do it to
put
standard, please?
Yeah, stand fine. There you go. Standard for you.
Thanks, mate.
So that
Right.
should be easy enough, hopefully. At least you haven't told me to put it on easy. At least you allowed me to at least have it on standard.
Join queue for mission.
Yeah, just join.
Marines, we're heading down to LV-895. The Weyland Yutani surface lab was overrun by Xenos, but there may be survivors. The closest shelter is the mountain caves to the west. You'll rappel into the caverns for search.
Yeah, you love Alex Datesike, huh? You really love him. Everything Alex Datesike says, like, yeah, I love this guy. I agree with everything this guy says. Love him.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, but
Is it?
I like the fact that he's actually shows the data, shows. The
I think he has the same
That's the-
views on life as you do here, and that includes the same bias. 'Cause I think we all have biases, all right, all of us.
I think that's a bit of a cope. Because
Not
I
all
don't
of us are
agree
100%
necessarily on
objective. It's just
everything.
not
That's-
possible.
I think that's a bad representation.
Because we're all
I disagree
shaped
with
by
that.
our own experiences, right?
I think that's what you think, but it's not what I think because I
Oh,
actually
really?
disagree with Alex in certain points.
Really?
I don't agree with him
What
on everything.
What do you disagree
And
with him
I
on?
don't
What do you disagree with him on?
disagree with him. I think on some of his earlier videos where he's I think the one he said like with the body like to be like very muscle.
You're
muscly,
joking.
right?
He didn't say that, did he?
I think
That's
maybe
crazy.
see, yeah, and I'm not so sure on that. I mean, but the thing is that it's, and I don't know like Alex's views on, I mean, his political standards. So I'm not like a fanboy of his, but the problem is, it's just a sorry state of the manosphere where at least he shows you the data. He
We've
goes
played this level before.
play the sleds. Oh, so we're ahead of. This was number 1 on campaign 2. So,
I think we've played this level before.
okay, well, you said to do start campaign 2. So
I got it wrong, man. Can we go back? Can we quit?
Yeah. I'm just need to abandon mission as well. Probably have to you have to rejoin. I'll send another. invite.
Oh shit. Alright, okay, thanks.
So it probably was. It'd have to be like mission 2 or 3.
Yeah, it was.
But I can't remember what we were on.
Oh, let me have a look.
Yeah, because you're the one who's unlocking it. So yeah, just see where.
Giants in the Earth. Is that a campaign or is that a mission?
Yeah, that's the campaign. So insertion was the
Oh
first
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Contact.
The last one, mission 3.
Evacuate.
The last one.
Evacuate, okay. Right, yeah. Okay, no worries.
Great.
But no, yeah, no, I'm not. You know, you're being disingenuous, being straw-manny when you say that I love Alex. I don't love him. That's weird, no. But
I think you have very similar views to his, which includes similar biases. Because I do think everyone has a little bit of bias, because we've all been shaped by our own experiences.
Biases. That's really bad faith, because no, you're not biased if you're literally just going with the data.
Yeah, the
right?
data says 60% of men are single. I mean, that you can't say anything you say.
The reasons why, like, that's ridiculous to claim, because you have to look. Yeah, but what's the sample size? You know, what's the age demographics? Because is that just like all people?
Well, it's told you the age demographic is under 35.
Yeah. So yeah, but he's not saying that 60% of men aren't single, and I'm not. So you're like.
Okay.
Strawman,
So that's a big. So that's like a point for like the Wheat Waffles crew, because it's like, look, man.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
Because there's reasons why, because of the study. Again, if you don't understand.
I understand it, but it's
like,
my opinion is different to yours.
Assume that means like men, but no. When you break it down, well, there was an age cutoff for the study, so it's from 29. So you can already see the problems with that study, because what it's going to mean is when men on average date younger women, and we have that with the studies, the data to back that up. It's not just a biased opinion. The problem with that study then is because it's cut off at 29, you're going to have plenty of women in their mid to late 20s who are dating men above 29. That's just logical. And if you don't understand,
all right, let's say I accept that. That still means young men today are fucking incels that can't get girlfriends. That doesn't change that fact.
And he explains in it, this is predominantly 18, 19-year-olds, and that hasn't changed radically. Again, like
no, it goes up to 35.
I
That study.
I didn't get my first relationship until I was 20, and that was a while ago. So does that mean things were so? No, it doesn't. It's just like,
yeah, but it's saying 60% of 20-year-olds are fucking single. So it's.
No, it's not 60% of 20-year-olds. No, because the highest rates were 18, 19. Now 20 would be still quite high because it's just 1 year, but it starts to go down. I can't believe what it was, 19. Maybe it was 20, but he said by the time it's mid-20s, most men it's. You know, he said the same for the virginity rates, where there's high amounts of virginity for 18, 19. But once you get a couple of years into it, it starts to radically drop. And that makes sense. Like, even in our days, I didn't lose my virginity when I was 19. So again, on a survey, if I was 18, yeah, I'm a virgin, right? And again, I didn't have my first relationship until I was 20. So at 18, 19, I would have been one of those that didn't have it. It's just a lot of 18, 19-year-olds don't. And it's just, like, is it always been this way? Well, in recent times, it's not just like the past 5 years, this has changed. It's, you know, it's just, that's why it's important if you look into how the data is. It was like that same thing, well, there's a 5-minute video on his channel, just watch that, and then hopefully...
maybe we can watch it after this, we can watch it after we finish this level.
Yeah, because obviously I can't remember all the points that he did, so it's not a fair representation. I know the main point is that it's just, you know, men tend to be older, so the problem with having an age cutoff is it's going to cut a lot of, you know, the mispaired. That's why you're getting the mismatch. That's what he's saying. You know, it doesn't explain all of the mismatch, but it explains a large percentage of it.
It still doesn't stop the fact, even if older men are coming in and getting the younger women, it still basically admits that, yeah, younger men are fucking inkwell today. Yeah. Admit it, you know.
But then the whole argument changed because the fact this isn't a recent phenomenon. It's always been that older men
it's more today.
had more success than women. No, this is where you'd have to. Where's the data for that? Is it more? That's where it's doubtful. It's like press F to doubt because I mean.
It's
really.
never been.
It's like,
It's never been where
Like,
60% of men that age are single. It's never been that
this
high.
is why I'm very skeptical, because people assume that things are as bad as they've always been, and actually, when you start to look at some data, whether it's marriage rates, whether
Things
it's
are worse for
rates,
young men
rape
today.
rates,
Like, you don't think.
realise that it depends. It
You-
depends how far back you want to go.
So
say,
you
like
don't
Lucas
think-
Maximus said, like Lucas Maximus says, it's not. We're still living in one of the better areas.
Yeah,
No,
but
maybe it's
but not
harder
for
to
not for
30
women.
years ago, but it's better than it was like 200 years
Yeah,
ago.
it's better if you want to chill, cope, rot, use escorts. Yeah, it's better. I agree with you. It's better. But for actually getting a girlfriend as a standard guy, an SII standard issue incel, it's harder today. Surely you agree.
What's your evidence for that, or is that just an opinion? Do you
So
have
it's my
actual evidence that-
opinion-
Okay, yeah.
It's
Okay,
my
so that's
opinion.
fine.
The evidence is
That's
also
fine.
the 60%. The other evidence is most people are
That's
hooking
fine,
up
because when that
online.
evidence can be-
Women
when that
find
evidence can be explained.
But women find 80% of men unattractive. That's all part of the evidence I would bring to a case study.
And that has always been that way, the 80% thing. So that's not changed either. You're talking about why it's got harder. That's been consistent. That's not just suddenly. It's not like suddenly women now think 80% of men are unattractive. No. And
It's
actually,
gotten harder
Alex did
because
a
women
video on that.
using
Ex-
online more.
Alex did a video explaining that because 80% of men don't. If it was true that women. He explained that basically most men aren't considered attractive yet, so that's why the 80% comes in, right? Your average man is not deemed attractive. That just shows that women don't just pick attractive men, because if that was the case, then very few men would ever get women. So it just shows that women are choosing.
Yeah, but very
based
few
on other
men do
factors.
get women.
No, it's the opposite. Very few men don't get women. That's a huge cope when you look at the stats.
No, but I'm not saying they might get lucky once in a while, but even
No,
Alex
this is why-
Stateside admitted only the top 20% of men are getting a lot of women consistently. Even your hero Alex Stateside admitted that, man.
I
So
mean,
he fucking
say
did.
That is just a terrible misrepresentation.
He really did though.
Because
He
he's
did
been
say that.
Getting stick from the blackpillers who claim that he is denying. He was saying that it's overblown, and it actually shows in recent times that the top news have actually got slightly less women than the top news did in the 90s. And this is why he's saying that dating apps haven't had the effect that blackpillers claim. They haven't funneled all the women to the top news. Because if it was
But
the
they-
case,
they've
why
funneled
haven't
some of
guys,
them.
the high value males, had more sexual partners? It hasn't gone up. If anything, like I said, it was a marginal decrease. This doesn't make sense, because if it was like, well, the reason why it's hard is because all the women are going to the chat, right? Well, then we would see chat's numbers increase. Even if it was like a slight increase, but we don't. There's no increase.
Oh, crap, I got no
That
ammo.
goes against this logic. You know, it's like saying 2 + 2 is
So
5.
you don't
It's
think
not. It
it's
just doesn't
it's
add
any
up.
harder today than 20 years ago? I don't believe you. Because you've told me in the past you do think it's harder today.
But it's being vastly overestimated.
Okay, alright, I'll accept
Much
that.
harder it is. No, it's been overestimated. Is it harder? Yeah, but a lot of things are harder in general. Like, it's harder to get on the housing market, right? It's harder economically for younger people. So is the dating market...
How do we get
has
forward?
the difficulty in the dating market, is that larger than the difficulty in, say, getting a home or the economic? No. There's lots of things why society has changed. But to just focus on this and say, well, it's the hardest it's ever been in that, it's just wrong.
I
It's
wouldn't
not.
say it's the hardest
Like-
it's ever been, you're right. I think it's kind of a cope that saying that. But
I don't think it's even...
it's harder than
Right,
fucking
and also-
20 years ago. It's much harder. I can remember I was still a teen, like,
But the thing is, though,
a
it's
teenager
very hard
20 years
question to
ago.
answer, because how can we actually tell? It's a very hard question to answer.
well, we can
To be
remember
honest,
because
like-
we're boomers. Me and you are boomers.
Yeah, and
We can
men-
actually
men
use our own
firstly-
experience.
Yeah, but that's very flawed, because firstly it's just our own personal experience, which is just like one person, right? So it's very, like, if you're trying to talk in general, you have to be honest, it's just our own personal experiences. And secondly,
So you don't trust your own personal experience?
oh, but you can't just go use a personal antidote and say, well, that's what it's like for all people, right? Because everyone can do that. Oh, it's hard for me. Oh, it was actually easy for me. So who are you going to believe? This is why it's just, you have to go with like other metrics of evidence. You can't just say, well, this is my experience, therefore that's what it is.
Prepare for battle.
Because everyone
Fuck.
has their own personal experience. Okay, so it's obviously going to be you And again, also, there is such a thing that your perception of time can be flawed. You can have things that's why they say nostalgia plays tricks on you. Like, people remember nostalgia and think times were better, when actually they weren't. They're not always the case. It's nostalgia playing tricks on you. So there's all sorts of issues. That's why I say to actually get a metric on, are things actually harder now? Are they roughly the same? Are they easier? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Because it is just going to be subjective, it's going to be personal opinion, personal bias.
Well, what the hell happened?
So that's why even if it is, theoretically say, a bit harder, it's not radically different. And we can see that because Chads, again, or the top dudes, however you want to call them, getting roughly the same, women or actually a bit lower. But what we see is that people just generally think less risk today. Men don't approach women. I mean, if you're not
Fuck, a boss was here. I got taken out by the boss.
Yeah, man. I don't know if I can get to you.
Yeah, that's alright. Someone asked, is that Wild Bill? Yeah, it's Wild Bill, as per usual. What? Oh shit. Oh, thank Christ.
I got ages to revive you, I didn't realise.
Yes, thank God we picked
Be
a
generous
standard.
with revive times. Maybe
Yeah,
2 minutes.
well we need it. We badly need it. Oh shit, I pressed the wrong button.
That's why I thought you were dead, because normally you have to get there quite quick.
Yeah, well thank God we're not playing on some ridiculous difficulty setting. Oh crap.
But this end's really generous. It's like,
Yeah, well it's perfect for us, for the stream. I mean, we're not just doing this to play the game, we're having a chat as well, you know?
yeah, true, you're right.
What mic am I using? I'm using the Trust mic that's built into my webcam. How you doing, Chaos? I don't know who you are, but oh shit. Hope you're having a nice December, nice night.
You remember a game called the Chaos Engine video game?
I do remember that. See, you're a boomer just like I am.
I used to like that game.
That was a pretty good game. On the Amiga.
Yeah, it was an isometric game, wasn't
Ha-
it? Shooter.
I've forgotten how to use the Medipack.
No, I don't know, because you're using the gamepad.
Oh fuck.
You're just gonna have to unbash. Unless you press go into the
Oh, wait.
options on the controls.
Yeah, I know now.
Keypad.
Yep, awesome.
Make sure you don't die.
Got it.
Yeah, I can't see the chat. You have to read it.
That's alright, I'll read it. I have a good view of it. Getting close, man. Oh, we're friends on Discord. Oh yeah, hey man, I think I know who you are. How you doing? How have you been?
No worries now.
Alex Dates, like, he would be great to have on a panel. He doesn't go on panels, does he? But he did do a chat with that guy. That's pretty good.
Well, not debate, but he's done one-to-one.
Yeah, they're pretty good. But he would be fantastic on a panel, man.
But with Undead Chronic.
Well, with like whatever podcast, man.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have him on whatever podcast because he's not going to just insult the women, is he?
Yeah.
They want like someone to attack like the women. That's what they want. Like.
Well, I don't know what he would say against the women though. He'd probably say like, well, he could say to the women like, you may think all women are like you, but they're not. Most women are not like you. And then that would be it. That would be the end of the conversation because the women would be like, yeah, we know that, or something. I don't know. It'd be really boring.
But the problem is that Alex Dexter will be probably pushing back against men on it because he's kind of like
I fucked up.
calling out a lot of the red pill groups and of course black pill as well, like black pill bad science basically, or the mis-science, you know. But,
Yeah, so he'd be good. He'd be on the women's team.
That wouldn't really work on the web podcast because the point is to shit on these like poor women, isn't it? So it's not really his thing, so it's not gonna work. Not the right person for that. It's not his topic. He doesn't do that. No. They want red pillars. They basically want people, traditionalists and red pillars. That's what they want. That's where you get the religious people, the tradcons, and then you'll get red pillars. I don't know if they've had like black pillars on. So I don't really watch it. I watched a couple.
Is there any class in this game that regenerates health?
Not constant. There is some classes that give you back a certain percentage of the damage you've sustained in the last few seconds, but that's about it.
Oh my god.
Ways you gotta make do. Medkits.
So there's 4 chapters in this, right? No, that'd be too short. There must be about 5 or 6.
How you phrase it.
Fuck, I'm down again. I fucked up. I was stupid. I ran straight into the gunfire. I'm playing like an idiot, man.
This medkit's there, so.
I'm playing like a complete idiot. Then again, I like to play that way, so.
It's a noob. Playing like a noob.
Well, yeah.
We don't really say it now, is it? The young kids.
I don't know. All our old viewers left, though. It's kind of annoying just because it crashed.
You're missing KevTV already. Do you not want the medkit?
Oh, yeah.
Use yours, right? There's 2 here. You might as well use them. You're not coming back.
I fucked up. The thing is, this... I can't see where the medkits are. Well, I can't see where you are. Oh shit, oh shit.
Do you not see the overlay? You can see us like through the walls.
Yeah, I can see the map.
You need to go back the way you came. Back up the stairs. I can run to you.
Oh yeah, true. Oh, that's good. We can come back.
Yeah, you can get more ammo if you need it as well.
8 kids here. Grabbing ammo.
Cool. So what else has Hormax have been saying?
Not
Same
watched
old.
too much. Like I said, I only watched that bit with Coach Blackfield.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think he had some success in a orgy or something on the swing clubs.
Oh yeah.
That's about it. Like I said, I've not watched too much. He hasn't been doing streams as often, I noticed.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. He did them too much, I think.
Too much. Yeah, because it just gets boring, right? It's the same thing.
I take it you haven't been watching any of Pearl or her team. You know, like the PUA Troy Francis.
Oh.
Yeah. By the way, he is now employed by Pearl. He's like on her network.
Oh, Troy. Well,
Yeah.
Wow.
He is.
I
Yeah.
don't watch any of them, but yeah.
That's fair enough.
Not interesting. To
Uh-huh.
be honest, not for me.
Yeah, that's cool. I guess you've not been watching any of GA either. He doesn't really interest you. He's really good at video games. I actually donated a tiny amount of money to him to play some video games that I'm into. Yeah, he's been hanging out with his usual pal from London.
Yeah, it's not really interesting, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
Besides, there's too many other things to watch anyway, so enough time for it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna I can't just be like watching YouTube.
Oh yeah. You never did play GA and Tekken. He was waiting for you, by the way.
But in that one stream.
Well, not just that. The day after, the like.
I said I was gonna tell.
You can play him any time, you know. But I think he will beat you though.
Forget all the time.
I'll be honest with you. I think because he's very good at Tekken, so.
Yeah, well, he plays a lot.
He does. He's good at video games. He's very good at. And also, like, I hate to blackpill us, not just you, us. Like, he's younger, you know. He's got the more youthful fucking muscle memory, twitch muscles, like reflexes. I'm like
I don't know. I destroyed him on Mortal Kombat. So
Oh, really?
So sure.
Alright.
I can't remember. Yeah, he did win one game against me. I won like 20 games or something.
You're joking? 20?
No. Yeah, I was just
Fucking hell.
Robocop and he couldn't beat me.
Damn.
Try.
Damn, that's
No,
incredible.
I wouldn't say necessarily. I think it's.
Well, you should play him in Tekken then.
He plays games a lot. So
He does.
he's
He does,
gonna be
yeah.
Good, right? The more you play something, the better you're gonna get. So I always knew he'd beat me on Tekken because I used to say it because he plays Tekken a lot.
He is good at Tekken. He is very.
I don't. But Mortal Kombat, I had the edge. Like,
Oh, for God's sake.
But But I still prefer Mortal Kombat to Tekken, if I'm honest. But I do like Tekken. I think Tekken behind Mortal Kombat better than like Street Fighter and things like that. But Mortal Kombat was always been like my number one. Like,
That is pretty cool, I guess.
but fighting games I'm not even that good at. Games, like, I'm much better at like sports games and I don't know, maybe first person shooters. I'm not sure.
HQ's here.
Oh man, the chat is fucking dead. We fucked up, man. People do find this game boring as hell. I can't really blame them.
It didn't have the stream crashing though.
It didn't.
Those of you
You're
that
right. Oh crap.
want to come back.
Jesus.
There are forces in the universe humans are not prepared to grapple. Cynthia's optical network is collapsing. I asked you to leave. I did everything to discourage your advance. You wouldn't stop.
Oh look, these guys.
But when they're like gossip in the if you want to talk about like incels in the incel forums, where I'd heard like the king of the incels got a girlfriend.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Yeah, and it caused
I
a lot
did
of
look-
controversy.
it did, yeah.
Like,
He wasn't really the king of the
Sums up,
incels. He
really.
was just like one of the mods on the incel forum.
oh yeah, I mean I'd heard people talk. They said he was like the guy in charge of it.
He was, yeah. He was one of the top guys in charge.
So it was like the king of the incels gets a girlfriend, which kind of
Yeah, he got her
doesn't
on
fit the
Discord.
narrative, that's why people got annoyed.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, yeah,
Not
I
over,
mean,
right?
you try and you get one.
It's
You're
only over
young.
when you give up. Yeah.
You gotta understand, like guys like GA, they over exaggerate. I don't think they're being serious. I think they.
Yeah,
They're
of
lying,
course,
you know.
They really over-exaggerate, yeah. I don't know. It's like I don't care. Like I think the problem is sometimes. you
I
feel
think
like,
the
know,
stream may have
someone's
crashed. By the way.
saying, "Shit." I think it's still running.
What? All right, that's weird.
Yeah, no, it's still running.
All right.
I almost died then because I wasn't playing. Your sneaky way to get me killed.
No, I wouldn't do that. Why would I do that on a
joking,
co-op?
I'm joking, man.
Find the synth cool.
But yeah, back to what I was saying, yeah, I mean, at least, you know, I do worry in terms, at least you realise people like GR are over exaggerating. But the thing is, it's like, when, like, I lost a lot of, say, like, faith in the Manosphere in general, I would say, not just Black Pill, Red Pill as well. First is like when you become Red Pill, like, you have a tendency to want to, like, Red Pill lovers, or in my case, like, detach people so much from these, like, cliches in the Manosphere, but when you first learn it, you have this urge like, oh yeah, I want to, you know, try and inform my people, but then you kind of realise that, just let people believe what they will. It's the same as like if you try to red pill blue pillars and then you just like, people are hostile to it. It's the same way in reverse as well. You just have to let people be. If they want to believe whatever they want, so be it. If they want to be wrong or delusional or whatever, it's up to them. There's no point wasting your
Well, they want to be drama queens, you know. They want to be very dramatic. I think that's because a lot of them are fucking 17-year-olds.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, most of YouTube is drama. If you look at it, most communities, it's just drama, isn't it? Like, drama sells on YouTube. So, yeah, and the Manosphere is very different. It's just like a big bitch fest, which is ironic because they rail against like feminists, but then they're like quite feminine themselves. You know, it's like a gossip. Even Hormax's channel, he like says, "Oh, I don't like gossip and that," but his channel became like a gossip channel. Like, it's just drama, YouTube. That's why the piece to not take it that seriously. You know, don't take what people say on YouTube seriously or YouTubers that seriously. Just,
Oh
you know,
crap!
if you see it for entertainment and you don't believe everything you hear, problem is because there's a lot of young men on YouTube. They are quite naive, and also autistic people are quite naive as well, I believe. So they get swayed easily, brainwashed.
I'm on fire. I fucked up. I fucked up big time. Oh fuck. I don't have any medikit. Oh my god, there was a flame. No, I'm gonna die. I thought that was my own guy. Oh, oh man. That was lucky.
Oh, man. Shit. I go down. Oh no, I'm dead. Oh no, it's over.
You're joking me. How can you be dead?
Yeah,
But
I got trapped. There was like too many of them.
yeah, but you're not dead. I can revive you.
Well, yeah, but you can't go down. You go down and it's the boss down. There's too many near me.
I'm dead as well. Yeah, we died. Fuck.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Fucking hell, that was hard.
Yeah, my bad. I was, you know, like complacent because that party does scale up.
Fucking hell, that was quite hard, man.
The end part. Well, it's the end
Jesus
bit, the level is the hardest
Christ.
bit.
Well, fucking, we'll try again after, maybe. If I can't really be asked, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, so I wasn't paying attention then. All of a sudden I was like, oh shit, my health's getting like concentrate. I didn't even get to use my medkit, see?
Yeah, that was silly. I ran out of medkits. Chaos asks, Ice Cat and Wild Bill, what do you guys think of Tails denouncing the sub-8 theory? Well, I think, yeah, the guy finally got a clue, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it was always silly from the get-go. The fact that it took so long. I know people don't like to admit they're wrong, they can be stubborn, and people are pushing narratives and they don't want to admit those narratives are false, but yeah, if he's done that, okay, fair enough, he's just done something right then. Because
I had something I wanted to tell
obviously
you.
that's stupid,
Always.
but it's just
Never.
worrying that it takes so long for
Anyway,
people
what
to
do you
kind
want?
of realise like the gross over-exaggeration. Now, if you're doing it for meme or if you're doing it for a joke, that's fine. Like, people meme and over-exaggerate all the time, but the fact is it wasn't just a meme. People were like seriously believing this sort of stuff, and even if the content creators were like, say, people did it went over their heads and it was always, oh, I'm just joking, bro, it's just me. But these people should have realised after a period of time that look, people who watch my content actually are taking it seriously. They're not seeing it as like a joke or a meme. So you should maybe just do a disclaimer and say, look, I'm obviously over-exaggerating. It's not to this level. But the fact that they didn't could be because they actually believed it as well. But either way, well, yeah, I mean, that's like saying, yeah, someone said that the sun comes up in the morning when they used to believe that the sun never came up and it was like an optical illusion. I mean, it's pretty routine stuff to say, but at least someone's doing it. The problem is that Tails, I'm sure, believes still in other things that are still pretty extreme.
You know who Tails is? That's weird.
I've heard of him before. I've not watched many. I may have briefly.
Yeah, his videos aren't that good.
He's been around a while. I know people kind of talk in a negative manner about him, but yeah, I've heard. That's how I know the content producer is. Then I know like the newest one, who's like a spawn off of Tails, but probably people would say it's better as Rehab Room. He's like a newer one, right?
Yeah, I think his videos are pretty good. That guy.
Who pushes like the looksism thing.
He is heavily into looksism, but
like,
he is a very good.
The videos I saw were pretty bad, but
yeah, but he is one of the better. He's probably better than Wheat Waffles at pushing his agenda.
True, but we realise the bar with Wheat Waffles is pretty low.
I don't know. It's about as.
May well be.
I don't know, but you say that, but it's hard to fucking push that stuff. So, actually, is it low or is it just?
I would agree. It's hard to push that stuff because it's not. It's like such BS. So yeah, sure. The more that something's untrue, the harder it's going to be to push because you have to twist things or you have to present it in a way because the truth ain't ultimately on your side. But yeah, I mean, maybe from an angle, he's good at video editing. Wheat Waffles. He makes good videos. He's good at video editing. Like his videos are well made. Whether he makes them, because yeah, the reason why I say that is because a lot of people, like especially bigger content producers, you think, oh, they've made all these videos, and you realise actually no, they have editors that they pay that actually make the videos. So they don't do all the graphic designs themselves, but his production quality, his videos are very good. His channel is well run. He's professional in that side of things, but his actual message, what he's pushing, getting meant to be insecure about looks, over exaggerating the doom appeals to them. People obsessively buy face rings, and now what's it? His latest grift, which is like some, I don't know, it's like you can put your faces and then he'll ask girls in person. You can pay to do
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's just
That's a pretty good grift, though, man. That's a very entertaining for his viewers. I like it. I think it's great.
sure if people want, like I say again, you know, who am I? I mean, I'm lost for words because this ain't just Tweet Waffles, you know. There's grift all around. Look at the whatever podcast. You have guys paying $200-300 just to put like a message read out. So yeah, sure. I mean, if there's guys willing to do that, I guess grift away, right? Because they're all grifting. I mean, it's like YouTube. It's a YouTube thing. All John, there's grifting. Like Andrew, I think that Andrew guy, he's a bad grifter. As much as I agree.
What, the religious guy?
On his stream. Yes, if you watch one of his streams on his Crucible, he makes a lot of money. He gets like thousands a stream, right? But he'll hold the stream to ransom. He'll go, well,
Happy Christmas, everyone.
And he'll say we're going to take a profit timeout, and he'll be like, oh, get a few more 100 dinos, then we'll carry on the stream. So it's really grifty, but it works. People do it, and I guess if people are stupid enough to do it, I suppose it's not the most moral thing, which is ironic considering if he's religious. But I guess if people want to throw their money away,
you know what?
do it.
You know what I'm drinking?
What?
It's this drink called Super Malt. It's nice.
Super malt.
Yeah, I quite like it. It's nice and sweet. Yeah, have you ever heard of it?
Mogged, right?
No, Super Malt. MALT.
Oh, super malt. See, there's me too much with the black. I was thinking mogged as in, the terminology.
No, not Super Malt. That'd be a great drink.
Super malt.
Super
What
Malt.
would it be?
That'd be
Super
fantastic.
malt. Can you imagine it would be a black drink?
That'd be
Super malt.
wicked.
It'll have like a picture of like Giga Chad, like a Chad on it.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone.
So when you look at it, you're being mogged. You're being mogged into oblivion. You have to drink your sorrow away.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you know who was talking about being mogged? Nuclear Redfield. He's been streaming recently. He started doing live streams, but no one listens. What I do sometimes. And he said
He should have joined us.
yeah, but he's kind of he's a bit weird, to be honest. But he was saying like he's good looking, but he's really autistic. And I don't know, he was saying like his cousin or his family, his uncle, or someone in his family, someone he knows, is like this manlet guy, but he's married or something, and he's always trying to mog him because he's NT, and he's like going like, well, I've got a wife or something, and you don't have anything. It's really funny.
Yeah, he gets quite angry with Redfield as well, the rage.
And I respect Redfield. Shout out to Redfield, Nuclear Redfield.
Yeah, I give Redfield credit because if what he said was true before that, he was as overweight as what he claimed. He's lost a hell of a lot of weight, so he's done well there. Because that's not easy to do that. It takes a lot of willpower to lose the weight. So you got to give him credit for that. Kudos to him.
Credit where credit's due.
Yeah, especially because I think he was the one that made the point. Because I used to watch his streams, but I haven't lately. Where he made the point that guys who are complaining about lookism but they're fat just shut the fuck up. And it's very true because like if lookism's so important to you, then why aren't you putting like all your effort into improving it as much as you can? Because at the end of the day, you got to look at yourself if that's what you believe, and that's what we're saying. Look, if you think looks so important, but you're a fat piece of shit, well, something you got to look at your own laziness at the end of the day, and that's the thing.
Chaos asks, what do you guys think of Black Pill 2021? I guess that's someone, or is he saying the Black Pill in 2021?
It's like a movie, the Black Pill 2021. Very specific, the specific year. I mean, 2021.
Maybe 2021 was a year that Black Pill was strong or something. I don't know.
Well, if you want the sorry to say it, articles that we've seen now, it's the sex recession.
True. Yeah, but that could be because of the knowledge of the black pill became mainstream, so that helped guys use that knowledge to get laid.
The black pill's mainstream, no, but I don't know. You could say it's the opposite. It's where the black pill started to decline.
So is it becoming more mainstream?
I don't know.
Well, look, you said it yourself. Look at.
Maybe sorry. Maybe more because it just wasn't really in the consciousness at all.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, you said it yourself. Look at the popularity of the Whatever podcast. You know, you said it yourself, man.
That's not black pill, though.
Come on, man. It black pills people. It black pills guys. It does.
No, that's red pill content. That's not black pill.
Similar.
Otherwise
Borderline.
No, because if we're going by that measure, then we can say, well, Fresh and Fit's black pill. We can say Rodo Tomas.
I think it is.
They've been around for donkey's years.
I think they're edging into black pill, man.
They don't think that.
I know they don't, but I do. Well, to be honest, I've always thought the black pill, you know, was a what's that word? It was an unneeded word, you know. I mean, for me, the red pill was good enough.
But if that was the case, then black pillers wouldn't have had wars, even back to Facing the MS days, when it would say, look, the difference between red pillers and black pillers. Well, if they're all black pilled, then there would be no differences. So obviously they were different. They weren't. No, the red pill was not the black pill. They're two different things. Come on.
Oh yeah.
It's completely different.
Yeah,
it can't be the same.
Well, all right, fair enough, whatever, man. But he's saying it was a channel, Black Pill 2021. He also called the channel Based in LMS. Based in LMS was a good name, but you know, there was a guy who called himself Game and LMS, and I thought that was a great name because, like, actually, if you had Game and LMS, man, you would slay. You wouldn't need face.
That's
like,
kind of what,
even if your face wasn't that good, as long as you had Game and LMS, you definitely slay, man. So Game and I know there's no chance of that guy watching because his channel was so tiny.
The looks, though. You mean Game and LMS?
Someone make a channel and call it Game and LMS, man, and I'll help. I'll plug it. I'll shout it out. I'll fucking go on there, whatever, man. That's a great name for a channel, Game and LMS. I mean, I wish I could make it, but you know, obviously I can't. So it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much it's most things, right? Game. I mean, it depends.
All right.
I suppose if you want to be picky, you can say, well, yeah, but that's not the NT. NT's a big part. You need the P. The P. Sorry, the personality. That's what missed out.
Yeah, but Game is a type of personality. Could be argued.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because it depends how you define it.
Alright, let's watch video from your favourite then. You know what I'm talking about.
Which one?
Well, you said there was one he did recently where he like destroyed that 60% stat or something like that.
Yeah, where he explains into it. Yeah, okay, because that's a short video. It's like 5-6 minutes, not long. Or maybe it's 10 minutes, I don't know. I can't remember. I can check. But I'm sure you'll find it. It's not long. It's not like one of his ones where he does like half an hour, 40 minutes. Which I know is a bit too long-winded, you know, for you that you don't like it, so. Which is fair enough. It is, like, quite science-based. It's not the easiest.
Fucking hell, man. Everyone is just going on about Destiny and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
God, it's blowing up, man.
Yeah, in the drunk dead. Yeah. Because all the Manosphere guys because don't forget, a lot of people didn't like Destiny and the Red Pill Net, so they're all like shitting on him. I think a lot of the Black Pills don't like Destiny either, so everyone's like, and of course all the right wingers don't like Destiny. Religious people don't. A lot of people don't like it, so they're all like been waiting to shit on him, right? So, of course, yeah. I mean, I don't like Destiny. I think he's a real piece of shit. So I don't have any sympathy for him either. You know,
I quite like him, to be honest, man.
Really? Oh,
I do like Destiny. I think he's a great fucking debater, man. He's intelligent.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. He is intelligent, but I just think he's a piece of shit.
He's a little bit he's devious and he's a bit of rodent-like.
Not a nice person. And that's why when you see that
who
video,
is a nice person?
People like Destiny isn't the norm, right? Destiny is definitely more towards the scumbag side of the bell curve. That's what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah,
he's more of a scumbag than most, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but if you know that about him, you could control that. You know what he's like, you know. So
Yeah, but he just is a scumbag. Like, you're telling me he's a good person? I mean, what you gonna do? You know Volsh? He's the other lefty. Volsh?
I never watched that guy Volsh. I never watch him.
Yeah, but I was gonna ask, do you think he's a piece of shit? Because they're like.
I don't know. I don't know him well enough.
You know.
Who do I think is a piece of shit? Well, I think Fresh and Fit is a piece of shit. You know,
Yeah,
Myron
I
or whatever.
Yeah,
I think he's a piece of
I
shit.
agree.
But...
There's a lot of pieces of shit.
So I'd much rather hang out with Destiny than with Fresh and Fit.
I don't know. I think they're both bad. Bad in different ways.
Oh!
I mean, I don't know as much about Fresh and Fit though. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I agree. Myron and that, they're what I've heard about them.
This must be what you're talking about, the singles gap, right? He did address it.
Yes.
All right, should we watch then?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
All right, here we go.
I might have to mute if there's a bad delay.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
What's up, guys? Alexander here with Date Psychology. Gonna do a fast video. Let's look at this Pew data that we've seen. Some charts. Let's just go ahead and go into it. It's gonna be quick. You have seen this chart before, right? That shows 63% of men between 18 and 29 are single, but only 34% of women in that age group are single. What is going on? A lot of people have talked about this, right? This question in the Pew survey asked, are they in committed relationships? So you would think people might be aware if they're in a committed relationship or not, but maybe not. How can we explain this? A popular explanation in the manosphere, right, is these Chad harems, right? The idea that these women think they're in a committed relationship, but they're not. They're being strung along, right? Let's go forward to the next slide. Before we go on, I want you guys to think about this. What is a Chad harem? What does it look like? I've asked people before. I asked a bunch of people on social media and got different responses, open-ended responses, just to get an idea of what they said. And typically most people say it's a form of soft polygamy, right? It's obviously not people living together in an actual harem, that sort of a thing. So is it spinning plates, as the red pill would like to say? Yeah, that seems to be what people seem to think that it is, right? Multiple women on rotation with one guy for casual sex. They think they're in a committed relationship with him, but they're not. That's probably what you imagine. Is a Chad harem one guy living with a bunch of women? Probably not, right? Is it one guy that's married to a bunch of women? Again, outside of Utah, probably not. So, keeping that in mind, let's look at what's going on here. Pew releases these data sets. Okay, I have a friend on Twitter, Nuance Enjoyer. Make sure to follow him. He does really good articles and everything, and he made this chart here, and I just took it off Twitter to make this video real quick. So, they release this data set. Then you can break it down. These singles by group. You have singles that are cohabiting, married and not cohabiting. And what do we see? Only 8% of this gap is single women who are not cohabiting. 21% are women who are cohabiting or who are married. So remember, this image of this Chad harem, right? It's probably not women living together with a man, that sort of a thing, married. These women that report not being single, most of them are actually living with their partner, right? They're not just out there like, yeah, I'm with some guy, we're in a relationship, and he's like, no, we're not. Probably not the case if they're married. Probably not the case if they're living with that guy. So I think this is pretty important. Looking at the data by category here, and you can see, okay, something else is going on with that. Let's go forward. As I mentioned, the Pew survey asked about committed relationships, right? And so a popular explanation as well was kind of that women misunderstood what this meant. And again, related to this Chad harem thing, right? That the woman says, yeah, I'm totally in a committed relationship with him. And the guy says, no, I'm not. But if it turns out that most of these women are living with their romantic partners, they're probably not misunderstanding it, right? It's, you're like, yeah, I live with the guy, we're in a relationship. Seems pretty clear, and I think that was an implausible explanation to begin with. This idea that people don't know if they're in a committed relationship if you ask them that, People tend to be aware, like, what are we, and that kind of a thing. So it's probably not the case that women are reporting incongruently their relationship status. So let's look at the next slide. What's a better explanation for this? Probably age gaps. Now, this is marital age gaps from the CPS, the Current Population Survey from the US Census. And it gives you an idea of age gaps. But You know, women date men who are older. They marry men who are older, and this is marriage. Dating probably has larger age gaps, as people tend to marry more assortatively for age. And when I went through this, I said, okay, what percentage of people within this age range could be dating outside, right, of the 18 to 29 bin? A low estimate I come up with is about 12%. A high estimate I came up with was about 35%. So a lot of this gap here between singles doesn't seem to be explained by single women who are not living with their partner and who, you know, might be in some kind of ambiguous status, you know, like, I don't know what we are, or, you know, I'm sharing a guy or something like that. They seem to be living with their partners. And that's the largest incongruent group, if you remember the first chart, was women who were living with their partner. So what's probably going on here? Women dating older men, simply, you know, simple as. And again, you know, I've mentioned this in the past videos, I think, but this is not something we see in other data sets, right? We don't see quite a large gap. In fact, here's a trend from 2012 to 2021 from the General Social Survey, and we see it's remained pretty consistent, and even in recent years, not the largest gap that we have seen. In fact, the largest gap here was in 2012. We begin to see this kind of before the popularity of dating apps. So we don't really see an increase with time, a widening of this gap, and additionally, we don't see, you know, a widening of this gap concurrent with dating app use. Anyway, that is it. Short video, but I wanted to share that with you since the Pew data was released and a lot of people.
This confirms kind of hypergamy, man. This kind of, I know it's not massive, but this last graph does confirm kind of hypergamy going on, man. Doesn't it? But you're right, it was worse in the past, according to this graph. Bill? Oh, we lost Bill, everyone. Press F for Bill, everyone. He's no longer with us, it looks like. Don't know what I'm gonna do. No one in the chat either. Well, it's a pretty interesting video, though. His hair has the colour of shit. He's got grey. He's a silver fox, Alex dates like, and like, he's much younger than he looks, man. Like, if he's got grey hair like that, he must be like in his 40s, earliest. Fucking hell, we really lost Bill, man. It's so annoying. Ugh. Well, according to this, he's still here. What's going on?
Hello?
Oh, you are here.
I went to the toilet. I thought, you know, because I'd already seen the video before.
So, you're
I'm
right.
just catching up on the stream. I did it on double speed. I'm like 30 seconds behind.
So, you're right. It's according to this graph, it's gotten better with time, but this graph does show not by a massive amount, but hypergamy is going on, man.
What do you mean by hypergamy?
More men are reporting singleness than women.
Well, that's not hypergamy. Hypergamy is like dating up.
Well, you know what I mean, like harems and shit like that. Like,
yeah, but that's a different thing because of.
Yeah, I don't know what word to say, polygamy or whatever. You know, polygamous relationships.
But it's not though, because on the previous one, when it turns to women like living with partners,
they're dating.
It's mainly dating on, because he said like if it was like say splitting.
They're dating older, but okay, but.
Yeah, because.
All right, okay. Let me break it down very, very simply here.
Yeah. So
more young men are fucking single, inkwell, whatever, than young women, and it's been like that since 2012, according to this chart. There's no getting over it, man.
Again, here we can say it's a white pill. Actually, from 2012
How?
things have improved, because look, 2012
it's gone down slightly.
70%.
Yeah.
So it's actually gone down slightly again, which is what we see that a lot of these.
Yeah, but 2012 was the start. 2012 was when Tinder came out, man. 2012
Yes,
was
and it
well
got
into the
better.
fucking.
It got better when 2012 came out. So normally you hear like people say like, "Oh, the date naps have made it a lot much worse." But when we see from 2012 2014, there was a sharp drop.
It got,
and then okay,
yeah,
goes
yeah,
up
yeah.
again in
Okay,
2016,
what you're saying is fine,
and then it starts
but
to go down again in
let us.
2018.
What if we could see the fucking 2004 data? It would be low, man. 2004 fucking guys were happy. Guys were getting out there. Like women didn't have smartphone. That would have been low in 2004.
Have you actually seen the data?
No, but I can guess. I can have a good guess.
Remember the cheating thing when you were so adamant, and then when I checked the data, it actually wasn't like that at all. And in fact, in the past, it was a lot worse when it was like early 2000, 2004, 2005. So this is why it might be. But until I see the data, I'm gonna have to doubt it because a lot of these
doubt it.
The cheating one, not really the cheating one, really, because I would have thought, yeah, cheating's definitely got worse in recent times. Actually, turns out it wasn't the case. But the thing is, until you look at the data, you don't know. So if there's data that can say, well, in 2004, what would be better? So what, there wouldn't be as many men single, I guess you're going to say? That would be a sign that it's better then?
Yeah.
So if we had, like, data which said, I don't know, 30% of men, same thing, were like single, you could say, yeah, look, it's gone up a
Yeah,
lot.
2004,
right?
it'll be about 30, 40, I guess.
But I don't know what it is. I honestly
We
don't
know,
what
but we
data
can
is.
guess. We
Without
can.
seeing it, I don't know because I can't just assume it because on other points it was assumed.
Because by the way, 2012 was well into the smartphone era. Smartphones started coming out around 2010, 2009.
Yeah, but this doesn't back the point because if it was those things that made it worse, then why hasn't it gone up from 2012?
Because it was already well on the way at 2012. You would have thought maybe,
it's
but
gone down. 10 years. Well,
slightly
9 years
went down
survey,
slightly.
It's slightly gone down, so it hasn't increased. If it was such a dramatic thing, because everyone says it's such a dramatic thing, then why is it not replicated in the data? We would see a spike, but we don't. It just doesn't add up then, does it?
I think 2004, 2005, it would have been low. Single men would have been fucking much lower, man. Because 2004 were the happy days, man. I still remember those days, man. You could go to the club,
do you have any evidence?
you know.
Because we don't know.
Well, the evidence is my own life,
I'm pretty
man.
sure before you saw this, you would have said in 2012 there was a much lower rate of singles. So this is why you need to see the data because we can have our biases.
I might have said it low. I'm not sure if I would have said
like
much
nostalgia,
lower.
Right? Oh, things were better in my day, but is that really the case? When you actually look at the evidence, or is that just your own personal bias and nostalgia playing a trick on you?
All right,
When
let's.
we look at many other areas, it hasn't mapped out that way, has it? That's the
There is
problem.
16 minutes left. Let me just get the last 16.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Hopefully it gives
I'll
you
go
kind
back
of a
on you.
different perspective on that.
There's nothing. It's kind of finished now
Took
anyway.
a chart from Nuance Enjoyer on Twitter. Again, follow him. He does a lot of good stuff. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. I will make.
All right, that's that.
very soon.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. But I mean, the fact is, you can say all that. The fact is, still more young men single than young women, though, man. The problem is still there at the end. You can say, oh, older men are coming in, whatever. Doesn't change the fact. A lot of young inkwells out there, man. Come on. At least give me that. Come on. Hello? You there? He does this every time. I have no idea why.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it wasn't much left of that. I muted and it was nearly finished.
Did you hear what I said?
I was trying to catch up because obviously I paused the stream thinking there was going to be a few
Alright,
minutes.
listen to what I said 10 seconds ago.
Okay, alright, give me a few seconds just to catch up.
It's quite good, this game, everyone. It's a really good game.
But what game?
It's called God. What did I say? Fuck. got some nice art here. I need to play this game again. Actually, it's a pretty good game. You there?
Oh damn! I was on mute. I was talking to myself for like a minute or two. Oh no. Okay, so I don't know if you heard. So firstly, yeah, on your video, you were like wondering why I'm not answering. Well, it's because I'm on the delay.
I
right?
know,
but mute Discord, so I'm not ignoring
alright,
you. It's just
alright.
catching up on the stream. So yeah, and I thought I was responding to you. I didn't realise I was on mute.
Well, did you hear what I
anyway,
said?
As I was saying, just simple. I'll just repeat what I said to myself then. So basically, no one's disputing that it's not easier for women or harder for men to get into a relationship with sex than it is for women. I think most people, you might find the odd person who, but most
well, like
people,
Destiny. What kind of man would still argue?
Destiny, I have heard.
Yeah, no, even Destiny says it's harder for men. Yeah. What kind of crazy man would argue that it's not harder for men? I haven't heard that one in a long time. Thank God. You'd have to be some sort of crazy man to argue that.
Yeah, like to get. I mean, it depends what metric, right? Because in terms of satisfaction, women do report low satisfaction. So it depends. Are women? It can be hard for women in other ways because the sexes are different. But to get into a relationship or to get sex, it's obviously easier for women. But you have to understand that women are not as motivated to simply get it. Like women have different brains. Like men and women are not the same. Something that Blacklists are incredibly blue-pilled on some of them. Men and women are completely different. They select for different and they think differently. So the problem is if you're a woman, like, you wouldn't value sex as much. That's the thing. Like, because it's easier for you to get and it's not your priority. Men, it's to spread their seed. For women, it's to be very selective because of the costs of reproduction are very great. Again, there's pluses to being a man, but there's also pluses to being a woman, right? Now, women are more muddy-cuddled, they're more protected by other men because they're seen as, despite all the oddity bullshit, women are the weaker sex. You know, so that's why men will, like, look to protect them. And also it's because with male nature, men are each other's worst enemies. It's male competition, right? Men are always, if you look throughout history, men are always the cruelest to each other. Despite all this, women are so cruel and that, yes, it can be, but men are still crueler. Like, men horrible things to one another. Men will stab each other in the back to even get a whiff of a woman, right? So it's always men that are going to be your biggest competitor. But because men are each other's biggest competitor, we're competing with one another. It's why
tournament species.
You know, men are going to side with women, right? In many ways because they don't see them as like the competition, and also they can get something from women than they can't from men, i.e. reproduction and sex. Unless you're homosexual, you're not going to get the reproduction, but you're not going to get like that sort of intimacy, right? So that's why men and women, you know, you're going to have men who treat women obviously differently to men. Now, so most of this is very basic, but I just thought I'd explain it because yes, there's going to be advantage in the date market towards women. It's easier, but it's just like things haven't happened. This has been like this for a while. That's the point. It's been like this for a while. It's not something new. This is just the way it is.
Well, 2012 is what we know it's been like.
Well, no, before that, women have always had the advantage over men since the dawn of time. And unless you're going back to a pure patriarchy where maybe women were treated like sex slaves or something and like pure commodities, maybe then you could argue, well, yeah, you know, because like men just rounded up women. I mean, you know, like some big actual harems in the old days, like Genghis Khan, where you had a warlord who had like harems, but still you had better treatment as the women because the women were taken as sex slaves, sure, but guess what, the men were killed. So women always still kind of got, you know, and again, what would you rather choose? Would you rather be,
well, Chaos says even before social media and dating apps, female advantage has always existed.
Yeah, in terms of being able to get dating, yeah. I wouldn't say female advantage in general has always existed because when you go back to the old times with patriarchy, women were quite suppressed. Like men had the advantage then. Like no, women were like second class citizens in a sense, not completely.
Yeah, I agree.
But men had because it's like the traditional patriarchal like sex roles, right? So men, that's why like the more tradcons wanted to go more.
Well, yeah, they want to go back to the 50s, basically, and that's fair enough. But
yeah. So that's why, like, yeah, and I think this is why the gripe of some men complains because it wasn't like some social changes have happened that women have got more power and rights, and they don't like that. So that's why they don't like the fact that women have been given this. They want it kind of back toward where it was skewed more towards men. But from a biological, like, sexual value point of view, of course, women have always been
Good stuff.
have the advantage in that sense, just because of the nature of how we reproduce. That's why it is. But that has always been a thing. But the social constraints have changed, and of course, social, not just biology. This is the thing: is biological advantages, but there's also social advantages. This is why sometimes, even though women have always had the biological advantage in terms of like
You know what I'm gonna
being
play?
seen as sexual reproduction, socially it was geared more towards men previously. Definitely now we live in a time where it's gone more towards women, and that has given them bigger advantage, sure, in that sense. But it's not as dramatic a change when we see like any hard data as what Manosphere claims. It's the general critique that the Manosphere overblows things. It just way out proportion. And the other thing is, like, the 50s was a very unique time in history. It was a blip. This is the thing, like, yes, many things you could argue 50s and 60s was like the highlight, right, in many ways, but, I mean, some people would disagree with that, but, you know, it's in many ways. But the problem is, that is only a unique time in history. All before that, it was a lot worse. And if you go back more and more in history, it was all bad for majority of men.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all bad.
Life was way worse than it is now for the average peasant. So, again, this is like, okay, you're like complaining against maybe the high point. This is like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin goes up to, I don't know, something like 50k, and it's the highest it's ever been. But then it goes down to 40k, and you're like,
Oh, it spiked recently again. My friend sold all his Bitcoin. I kept hold of it. But it spiked. It spiked very recently, Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's like, okay, compared to the 50s, maybe something's got worse, but still, it's not. If you look at things in a bigger context, it's still not that bad. And definitely in recent times, like 20, 30 years. In fact, depends what you're measuring, but some measures, it's either not changed or it's actually improved slightly in terms of like with the gene one, which was very surprising. So it depends. But in recent times, it doesn't seem to be this big shift. And the sexiness, well, that's improved a lot since 2018. People are getting laid. So it's like, well, it depends what you're after. Now, if you're after traditionalism, if you're a religious person, then I think you have the strongest argument. Because things have declined. It's become more degenerate. Now that, there isn't as much pushback against. That is, I think, what is a stronger argument than just, oh, men aren't getting laid, or men. No, is that society's become much more degenerate and we've lost our traditional values. That is a much stronger argument, because that you can back up, because like religiosity has, you know, dropped, marriage rates are dropping, people are being more degenerate, etc., etc. So if you don't like all those things, yeah, sure, you know, there's not really, there's a much stronger argument and grievance to have. But just the general like black pill doom, or even like a lot of the red pill, because again they overblow how promiscuous women are. That's another real like eye opener when you look at how promiscuous people are. They're really not that promiscuous, women and men. And it's overblown because the management lets you to believe that these women are like slutting it up in their like 20s and that, when they're really not. Most women aren't. There's a small percentage of hypersexual women, and that's it. And we know this to be true because of the STD rates.
The top LMS men, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I know you don't agree with that, but I do.
No, it's not even that apparently. Yeah, I know you're not gonna like it. Some of them, yeah, sure. Maybe majority of them, I don't know. But some no, because it's how it's personality. Because there's top LMS guys, there's high value men who don't have lots of sexual partners, who actually choose not to. So it's not always the case that it's not a linear model where the people who have the most sex are the most valued. No, because you do have some high value men who actually just want one partner, or even abstain, who are quite religious. So it's not always the case that, oh, it's just the high value men. And also, if you have a man who's a hound dog who just wants sex, and his whole life is around chasing sex, and he's shagging like ones and twos, but he has lots of sex partners, he's going to get put in that top 20%. So this is why you have to be careful. It doesn't just mean that the people having sex the most are the most high value. No, it's people who are the most that way, most promiscuous, right? Because some people don't want to be like that. They could, but they choose not to. So it's not even, yeah, sure, there's going to be high-value men in there. Okay, sure. And maybe the majority are, but there's also going to be some that aren't. It's not like all men who have lots of sex are, and all men who have little sex are low value. No, there's high-value men who don't have much sex. There's high-value men that only have like one partner. I mean, there was like this Chad, you want to say, on the one. I don't know if he was lying, of course, on the whatever podcast. He said he was a virgin. So.
Was he American?
He was a religious guy.
Oh, okay, yeah,
he was
yeah.
like 27.
Was he
But he
American?
was a really good-looking guy. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he was with Andrew. He was on with Andrew. But I mean, he says he's religious, so he's not doing it for religious reasons. But again, the point is,
Yeah, that's probably coke though.
Stats. But if you're looking at stats, and what he's saying is true. Okay. Now he's choosing to. There's no way. Like he could obviously, you know, he's not. Alright, no one's denying that he could if he wanted to. But the point is, this is where you have to carefully look at statistics, which you could have like you could have someone like Destiny. Destiny not Chad, but Destiny's had a lot of sex. Alright.
Well, yeah, he's got status. He's got status.
But true. But then if we take, for example, someone who's lower down than Destiny, because don't forget Destiny's had hot women. Now Destiny doesn't go for ugly women. Now we get this guy. He goes with the bottom of the barrel women. He can run up big numbers too. But the quality of the women's trash, and most guys wouldn't bother to do that. But if it's just about getting numbers, like lays, this is why in terms of data, if someone asked him, how many sexual partners you had? And he's like 20. Does he have to put down that they've all been land welders, all been horrible women? No, so he just puts 20. But he will be saying, oh wow, he's had 20, so he's one of those top 20% men. So this is why it's very. Meanwhile, you have a Chad or whatever, really good guy, and how many sexual partners? Oh, just one. But he has like a 8, 9 out of 10 women that he's in a committed relationship with. This is why you have to be very careful when you look at statistics, because again, it's not even like the most people who have sex. Because this is why Alex did a meta study. I know Alex again on one of his videos, but you can see it.
Well, I like Alex as well.
Meta studies is one of the strongest pieces of evidence, because I don't know if you know what meta studies is, but I'll explain quickly. It's basically a compilation of a lot of studies, not just one study. It's putting them all together, and the correlation for the amount of sex with attractiveness was weak. It was a small. That's it. Again, if looks was so important, surely you would see a big correlation, a strong correlation, a high correlation, but there isn't a weak correlation. He said there's higher correlations in terms of whether you drink alcohol, whether you take drugs. You know, lifestyle choices will be a bigger determinant on how much sex this person has. So basically, if you had like a blank person, you knew nothing about them, and they said, well, we can tell you he's good looking, or we can tell you he drinks, or we can tell you he takes drugs. Knowing whether the guy took drugs or drinks would be a better indicator that he has more sex than attraction. And that's one of the hypotheses. You want to know why sexiness for all people has gone down, because risky behavior for people has gone down. Like, people don't drink as much, people don't take drugs as much, people don't go to parties as much. So it's people are more risk adverse, and of course sex is a risky act. So people are more scared to take risks. And again, this is why like men aren't asking out women as much. They're scared of rejection. They're scared of risk, because again, if you approach a woman, there is a risk to it, and people are afraid of the consequence. So it's risk aversion. And that's one of the, if you want to talk about the behavioural changes that have happened, the testosterone levels are dropping in it. It's another one. Porn, the effects of porn. If you want to go on about date naps, porn's had probably a bigger impact on the dating market than date naps. But
Chaos.
again, there's this.
Chaos says there's a lot of truth in the black pill, especially the discussion about lookism, but it's tainted by bullshit like only Chad gets laid.
I disagree, I'm afraid, Chaos. More I see the data, I start to think, what is true? I think there's some truth in the black pill. I wouldn't say there's a lot. And I think there's a lot of half-truths that get twisted. And any truth there is gets grossly exaggerated anyway. I think being too credible to the black pill, I'm afraid I would reverse that and say there's only some truth in the black pill and a lot of bullshit. And I would say the same for the red pill. And that's something I've realised when I looked onto this with the black pill. A lot of the critique I had for the black pill also maps onto the red pill. And the reason why is because I've actually realised that a lot of the core beliefs towards women and that carry over from the red pill into the black pill. And then the black pill puts this twist, or maybe has a more nihilistic, bleak outlook, whereas the red pill has a more sort of positive spin on it, right? But the core tenets, in terms of like promiscuity, the 80-20 rule, like the guys at the top, Chad Harris, the red pill and the black pill are in agreement on this. A lot of the core tenets, the red pills and the black pills both agree on, and it's based off, got to be honest, pseudoscience. Bro science is not actual real thing. It's not existent. It's like memes that got said enough times and then people believe it. It's not actually any hard data, and when you look at the hard data, then you realise, oh shit, that doesn't map onto what these guys have been saying. It really doesn't. It's actually the opposite in many ways. So, you know, it's, and okay, you can have the argument, and I don't mind, because we all went through recent times. Can't always trust the studies, that's what I'm going to say. Don't get too much into it. And I don't always trust science. But the problem is, when you're a community, the black pill especially, that oh, but we're the science. Well, then you can't pick and choose the science, right? Either you want to throw science out the window, or we're going with the science. Well, if we're going with the science, it doesn't back your claim. You want to throw all the studies out and say, look, let's not believe studies anymore. Okay, I don't actually, you know, but be consistent. You can't pick and choose the study when it suits the black pill. That's my argument. You got to either be like, we trust studies or we don't. And the problem with the black pills, for too long, they were like, oh, look, the studies back our arguments up. But then when the studies seem to indicate they don't, and when people look into them more and be like, well, yeah, but you may find like one graph, but the majority of studies actually don't agree with you. You can't then put your head in the sand and say, oh, we can't trust this, which is what Wheat Waffles did against Jafar in that debate.
That was a good debate.
You know, which,
we can watch a bit of it.
Yeah,
maybe.
you know, we can trust the 2018 graph, but we can't trust the 2020, we can't trust the 2021, we can't trust the 2022, we can't trust the 2023, we can't trust studies before that. That just seems like it's just bias. You just want that one study that suited your agenda. All other studies, no, we don't believe. That's cope.
I guess you're right.
Oh, okay, it's agreed with me. Oh, okay, yeah.
What did he say?
He thinks Bill is base.
Okay.
Laugh my ass off. Ice Guy, could you send me Bill's Discord tag?
Oh yeah, sure
Do you
thing.
have chart data and studies prepared that debunk the black pill? Okay, well, I'll be interested to see. I mean, you know, even if it supports the black pill, I would be interested to see, because, you know, it is fascinating when you actually, because people give their opinions a lot, and too often people just believe what the YouTubers say. But are these YouTubers authorities on things? No, they're just like you and me. They're just people, right? And too long they've spouted their bullshit, and people haven't really called them out on it or anything, or people don't think for themselves. But when you actually look into it, because most people don't want to look into it, that's the problem. Most people
Think for
don't
yourself.
want, because it does take time. Like with that cheating one we said, that took me like half an hour to find. Like, oh, it wasn't easy to find like the information, so you had to do some digging. And of course, most people won't understand if you ain't even got the time, right? Because you know it's not the most important thing. I mean, you could argue no one should be wasting time on this anyway, getting on with your life. But when you actually spend the time, you realise, oh yeah, it's not what they say.
Of course, I fucked up.
Or people twist things. It's like with that cheating thing, I couldn't believe it, because that guy's not a black pill or anything. He twisted that, because I know you were saying, yeah, but he presented like 50 years cheating, but the way he phrased it was like, this is accelerating, it's getting worse, because at no point in the video, I wouldn't mind you saying, the last 20 years, we see that actually it's gone down a little bit, but overall it's still increased. That's fine, because he's made it clear, but the fact, he doesn't mention anything like that, and the way he presents it was like it's accelerating, because that's the opinion I got watching the video as well. It's like, oh, cheating's is the worst it's ever got. But then when I checked out of interest, it's like, oh, and I was shocked. I was surprised as well, because it's what you're told is that, oh, cheating's just getting worse, women are getting more hurried. And again, not just the black pill, red pillars. They're always saying the 304s, promiscuous women, MGTOWs say it a lot. Like Undead Chronic, that's one of the things he was pissed off about Alex about, because he called him a simp because he was denying that women aren't all whores. That's basically his argument. And that's why he was annoyed.
Yeah, but Undead Chronic is like a complete loser now.
So?
I'm pretty sure Undead Chronic pretty much admitted he was a loser, and his followers kind of liked him for that, because they were because his followers are all losers as well. Well, there's a lot of loser men out there, you know.
Yeah, I'd agree. Unfortunately, I mean, I know it's not always nice to say, but I think sometimes you have to say it as it is, because especially if you try and convince people and they don't want to listen, you just have to kind of leave them to it. Just like, well, yeah, you know, there's a lot of delusional men.
What's
yes, Chaos, yes, a very, yeah, that's spot on, Chaos, yeah. Like, again, yeah, they always cite Yoga Cupid and again, Alex has made a video of that to explain it more, and I'm trying to remember what he said, but he said even when it's like rated as above average, yeah, that's true, but as he explained, most men are considered, the average is unattractive basically, so 80% of men are considered.
Oh my god.
Average is unattractive, so it's like if you're unattractive, it doesn't mean you're below average. Because it turns out how women score or perceive attractiveness is like that very few men are seen as actually attractive in women's eyes. But that doesn't mean that women don't choose unattractive men, because they do. So the point is getting at is that yes, you might not be seen as unattractive by women, but that doesn't mean she won't necessarily date you. That's the thing, right? You've like basically the looks threshold they talk about. You can be seen as not attractive and still pass the looks threshold, because you would have to be like very hideously ugly. That's what it's pointing to. And also the other thing to note is that whilst say like a woman only rates 20% of men, the variation in what women perceive attractive, especially in the face, was very so what that meant was you had like 8, 9, 10 out guys that were seen as like unattractive by some women, and vice versa. You would have men who scored lowly, 3-4, because that's what Alex did. He did a study where he got all men under average attractiveness, and he said even the most unattractive men got about like 20% of women that said would date them. Like no man got like 0. There's always going. The point is that every man, even if you're a Chad or whatever, you're going to have a certain percentage of women. Like even like Brad Pitt, you could ask like women, and there's some women who legitimately do not find Brad Pitt attractive, right? But Brad Pitt is going to be like a very, in his prime, he's going to be like a very attractive man, one of the most, in the top echelon. But the point is there's a lot of variability in what women perceive as attractive, much more so than there is for men. There's still variability in men. Like I've seen it with friends before. You're on a night out, and there's this woman here I don't find attractive, but my mate really likes her, and then it could be vice versa. You have different tastes, and that's men. And apparently,
I've
men,
always agreed with that. Beauty, I know
do have,
black pillars hate the phrase "beauty is in the eye of the beholder," but there's truth to that phrase.
Yes,
It really is.
Yes, I mean, with men, we do tend to have more similar markers of attraction. We are
You're slim.
But we do still vary, as you know. But women, it's far more varied than men. So if we can see the variation in men, then just think what it's like for women. Women are much more varied in what they find attractive in the face, this one specifically. So this is why there's always going to be, this is why the phrase "it's overview" is really ridiculous, because even if most women find you unattractive, which is normal by the way, it's normal, completely normal. So when most men are in that boat. But the point is that doesn't mean you can't get women. It doesn't mean you can't date. It doesn't mean that women won't date you. And yes, if 80% of men are seen as unattractive, but it's not like 80% of men are incel, that means women date unattractive men. Newsflash. So it's not all about looks. Looks help. Looks are an advantage. Yes, definitely. You will be good looking and bad. Sure, they give you an edge. But so do other things in life. It's like it's one. I've always said this. I've said this before. It's like an RPG game. I mean, a lot of people in the space of games, as you know, you have an RPG character. You have multiple attributes, right? And you get 1 to 10 on each attribute. Looks is one attribute, but there's other attributes, right? The problem is they think that if you just have 10 in this attribute, or 9, then that's it. That's all you need. And if you have like 1, 2, you might as well rope yourself. Or if you're like a 4, 3, it's still when they're just wrong. Because if you score highly as an aggregate score, you're still gonna have like a decent life, and that most likely, right? And even if you just have say looks, but if you score terrible and say like mental health, in like personality, in terms of wealth, in terms of physical health, you can be incredibly good looking, but you have like a physical health problem or a mental health problem, right? That really makes your life like terrible. I mean, do good-looking people rope themselves? Yeah, they do. So, I mean, clearly it's not just like looks makes your life.
And on that note, no, seriously though, Chaos says, could it be that looks are objective because they are subjective? In that 6 out of 10 guy would be rated higher by a woman who's a 3 out of 10 and lower by an 8 out of 10 woman. Now that's pretty good thought actually. That's interesting.
I don't think there is case. I think it's just variation. You could have 2 3 out of 10 women that would rate the guy. One might rate the guy higher than the other, and I don't think it
Well-
depends on the hotness of the women. That's not what the data. It just said that women have different preferences, like different personalities. They're not all the same. They don't
Well,
think like the Borg and
according
don't change.
according to Freud, they like men that look like their dads, and men like women that look like their mums, which kind of
And also,
rings true.
the OkCupid data was a bit flawed because the question that was asked, Alice in the video shows the question. If you look through one of his videos, he actually goes into depth about the thing. He said the question that the women were asked was compared to your opinion of an average man on the street. So this is why there was a lot of men that were deemed unattractive, because he said the problem was that women seem to think that the average man is more attractive than he really is. Like most average men, this is why like when I got stick in the day for calling Todd average for the age, he is. Because the average man isn't good looking. The average man is not good looking, right? Most men are not good looking. Right? Which is why it's stupid when it's like, oh, I'm gonna try and trust. Yeah, most men aren't. Get on with it. Most men in life just get on with it. That's the difference. You know, some men like to just wet on it and just, oh, life's hard, this, that. But most men are not good looking. So, of course, women's perception is that, oh, the average is higher than what it is. So that's why when women, you know, this is why he broke it down, that the perception, I can't remember the term he used, it was an academic term, but it was like the average is not what the average man looks like, basically. So that's why you got such a skewed width, because he said when the question was asked, would you date the man, it wasn't 80-20 no more. It was a lot more fairer. I can't remember what it was, but it went up. It was a lot higher than 20% women would date. So, you know, this is why, again, when you're asking like a survey like that, it depends how the question's worded. But yeah, most men are not good looking, but most men do still get women. So clearly it's not the barrier. It has to be something else going on. The only people I've always said, if you're burned, if you're disfigured, if you have like a missing chromosome, Down syndrome, you know, if you are incredibly ugly, right, then okay, I don't have a problem with someone like kind of obsessed about, you know, the looks and feeling very self-conscious about it. I understand at that point, but for most people,
But that could even go in their favour, right?
Well, it can, because when you think of fetishes,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'll give
Well,
you an
Oofy
example. I'll
Doofy.
give you some right now. Ice Cat. It's
What's his name? Squirmy and Grubs.
Well, yeah, but like objectively speaking, right? Morbidly obese women are unattractive for men, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like, yet you have a subset of men who have a fetish for these sort of women and would rather choose these women. And there's an example of this, you know, on the Whatever podcast, you know, the nice looking women, they had a fat, horrible, grotesque
Oh,
woman
she was
who
gross.
like an OnlyFans money, and she was making big money from men who, now, these men don't have to give her money.
Oh,
They can go
fuck.
to one of the good-looking OnlyFans, but they choose to. So there's clearly some men like the really big women. So again, that's just another example where even someone that we would think should struggle with the opposite sex, but they have some that prefer them. So why is it such a stretch to assume that even men, you know, women, and I'm not even saying that they would prefer these men, but that they would be open to these men? It just doesn't logically follow. People have different, like even if you want to go from the fetish point of view, and there's enough people in the population sample that there's always going to be some people which would be open to you. It's never like, oh, no woman's ever gonna, that's just false. You know, and I would still give credence to those who are incredibly ugly or deformed or something. I would give them the benefit of the doubt, because it could be like, say, they could maybe still, there is examples of people like that, but I would, you know, I don't mind. If they want to be like, then that's fine. That's where I'm happy to be like, yeah, okay, I don't mind those people. But what we get in this space is we get a lot of people who are average or just below average, right? Or even ugly, but they're not that ugly. And then they'll be like, oh. That's what I have a problem with, because there's many men, similar looks to them, or even worse, who are just getting on with life, aren't in these spaces, and doing fine, right? So it's, and we know this from the stats, because if it's like 15% of men aren't getting laid, and 80% of men are deemed unattractive, that means that 65% of men who are deemed unattractive are getting women. So what's your excuse? Because again, unless you're incredibly fucked up, like I just mentioned, what is your excuse at this point? There has to be something else going on in your life.
Laziness.
You can't just blame on your looks. Yes, we have to look at other things. Is your mental health bad? Is your personality terrible? Because also on the studies prove that terms of attraction, yes, looks, but also personality plays a big role. So again, if you have like a terribly negative attitude and you're horrible, you have no social skills, you have no friends, then yeah, people aren't gonna want to know you. But unfortunately, that you can't blame on your looks. That's a cope. Look at your financial. We have data that indicates if you're living at home, if you're not employed, your rate of being single, and being single is a good indicator to get sex in that, skyrockets. So again, that's something you can change, right? Now, if you just want to live at home with your parents and you don't want to build a career, you don't want to get a job, okay, but that's your choice. You can't just sit around and go, my face. No, that's your choice. So that's another marker. And then again, you can go status. To be honest, status is conflicting studies. Status is one that actually, I've seen some studies which doesn't indicate a big, advantage with status, but then there's some that do. That's a hard one. And then, but what seems to be is education level. That's the one. If you have high education, you're much more likely to get into a relationship. You're far more likely to get married, and interestingly, you're far less likely to get divorced. That's like another mishap in the red pill. No, the high rates of divorce are with low educated people. But if you're a highly educated person or a highly educated woman, the chances of your relationship, your marriage lasting is much higher. You have the best chance. So again, if you want it's really to be highly educated, have your own place, be a part of society basically. Don't be like an outcast, a lone wolf. This is where if you do this is very much
don't be a
part of the
free.
system.
What does it mean? The phrase "don't be a free agent in life." Have you heard that phrase before?
Free agent.
That's what Rehab Room says at the end of his videos. Don't be a free agent in life. I think it means don't be ignorant. He says don't be a free agent in life. Let the black pill guide you. I think it means don't be ignorant.
Say that. If you're letting the black pill guide you, you've got a one-way ticket to nihilism. I don't think that's
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right?
Yeah, it's not going to help your life at all. I mean, as much as I don't like the red pill either, I would say the red pill is preferable because the red pill can take you into self-improvement. And again, in terms, like I said, we know for sure the data that if you if your life's more functional, you can improve your chances. If you're a dysfunctional person and your life's in the gutter, then it's going to be harder, right? So getting a job, moving out, having those basic things, they're not easy to get, especially because of finances, but if you can achieve it, it will greatly affect it. If you're a young guy, get an education. Now, if you're an older guy, it might be too late for the educational side, but if you're a younger guy, if you get into high education, that's really apparently going to help your dating. So this would kind of go against Dashboard, I think, if we go with the studies. This doesn't map up to his reality. I've got to push back on what he's saying there, because we don't see this. Yeah, okay, Kes, I'll add you on the Discord. But this is where, like I say, when you look at the stage, you do start to see these interesting things, and then it throws up, it's like these tropes that you hear, were like pillars of knowledge in the manosphere. You have to start to doubt them. You have to start to go, well, okay, if what they're saying was true, why is it not reflected in the data? What's going on there? And I will say with status is one that is up in the air. Because like I say, there is conflicting information, just like how much does status help? Outside of education seems to be a slam dunk. It's always beneficial, but apparently in terms of economic status, people, because I'll briefly explain the one model that's proved, because the alpha beta bugs is being debunked. The guy who done it has come out and said it's wrong.
What,
So
Rollo
alpha
Tomasi?
bugs,
Wasn't it Rollo Tomasi that came up?
No, it wasn't. No, it was a scientist who did it. I can't remember his name. I could Google it, but you can Google it. It's basically the guy who's invented it. They all came up with the hypothesis. He's gone back on it and said no, it can't be replicated. It's not actually. Yeah, it's not.
Oh, was he the guy that said it's you can see it happen in wolves, but it doesn't happen in humans or something?
I think it's what cares David Buss. I think that's it. Yeah, David Buss. I think that's who it was. Yeah, he's gone back on it. So that's why you're hearing some. I think the Jafar ones, because she's been pushing back on the Reptar, saying, well, the alphabet actually been recently proven wrong, which it has. It's no longer a real scientific study, whatever you want to say. The social sciences are what they come up with. But the one model that they still say, or the one that has the most evidence I've heard, is your sortative mating hypothesis, and that's basically people in general get with those similar to themselves. So So this would range on all things in terms of attraction, in terms of status, in terms of wealth, in terms of race, in terms of personality. I think IQ maybe as well. That people just generally get with those similar to themselves. You know, that's the biggest. You know, again, so like. I know people like to focus on the looks, so if you're like a 5 out of 10, then most likely you're going to get a 5.
So,
6, maybe a 4, I don't know.
Chaos says...
Yeah, associative mating, yeah, matching hypothesis, yeah, that seems that what they say has the most evidence for. Is this, like, if you were going to go with a certain hypothesis, that's the one that has the most hard, like, science supporting it.
Chaos says, just because they'd pick him in a hypothetical question doesn't automatically mean they're dating him or they can get him. What do you reckon?
Sorry, say that again.
So he says, just because they would pick him in a hypothetical question doesn't automatically mean they're dating him or that they can get him.
Okay,
So
well,
they're
yeah,
settling.
that's what they found. They found in a lot of these self-report surveys, people reported an ideal mate, but then that wasn't necessarily who they got with. It's like, it's a difference. It's like your preference, but then who you actually get with. That's the difference. So like, people might have an ideal, like everyone wants a supermodel, but does everyone get with a supermodel? No. Right? So it's like you have a certain, that's my ideal man or woman, but then who people actually choose doesn't reflect that. And interestingly, there was a study where there was a tribe, I believe, in some like third world country where it's completely poly, you know, that everyone could go with everyone, polyamorous, I think, let's say it right, where everyone could choose everyone. There was no restrictions on who they mate with. But yet, even though they had the opportunity to get with higher quality mates, they chose to go with mates roughly the same, or only slightly
Looks
superior
matched.
to them. Yeah, essentially, yeah. The study was on like mate value, but I guess in the primitive tribe, you could say a lot of it, yeah, was looks, or maybe it was the hierarchy in the tribe, it could be as well. But whatever it was, yeah, their SMV, probably the best way to describe it, sexual market value, they didn't go with basically the top dudes or the women. Some women, even though they had the opportunity, because they could just sleep around, they actually went with guys similar. Some of this, the theories they think of like mate protection, which means they don't want someone significantly better because they're worried about losing them. So if you're going to get pregnant from a man, they want the man to stick around, so they don't actually want to get with someone they perceive as a huge mismatch because you know, they're worried about losing their mate, etc. There's also, I think, the other thing that women do feel, and I think this is what Dashwood said, women do feel intimidated and uncomfortable if a man is superiorly better looking than she is. Doesn't feel comfortable with that. So again, you know, a woman may have a fantasy about like a chiseled man, but yet she feels more comfortable. And this is what the other study that was mentioned, the dad bod one, that women chose dad bods over six pack, over the fitness model. That was what a big thing that done, like that women would choose the guy with the dad bod over the fitness model.
Yeah, oofy doofy.
Yeah, and again, that reason why is because not because they think that guy's more attractive or they fantasize about that, but it's because they feel more secured with that mate. They know there's less need, less likely they're going to lose him, like mate poaching. They're less likely to lose him to another person, and they think that he will be more committed to her, and that is why they choose. So again, this is why like people's stated preferences isn't always what they choose in a mate. Like you may have a preference, but you don't choose it, right? This would be like, I don't know, my preference, it could be anything. It's like my preference for a drink is like Fanta, but I drink Coca-Cola. And this is why sometimes it's more important to look at what people do rather than what they state.
What?
Because again, you know,
If your preference is Fanta, why would you drink Coca-Cola? It doesn't make any sense.
It's just a hypothesis, which is...
Well, you mean, you're saying if there was no Coca-Cola available, you'd drink Fanta? Or whatever.
Well, I'm saying what's more useful, you know, if you're looking at my behaviour in what my life...
So you're saying you were lying? For shit.
No, what I'm saying is people can have a stated preference, but they do not do that in the real world.
Yeah, because there's a reason that
their actions are different.
There's a reason they don't do that.
Yeah, the reason. That's why it's important to look at what's... You can look at what's the reasons, but the key thing is just because someone states a preference doesn't mean they're doing that, right? That's what you... Because, like, you know,
well, maybe
in that example...
Fanta's cheaper.
In that example... in that example, you would be under the false illusion that I drink Fanta because my preference was stated was I want to drink Fanta, right? But if you were to look at my behavior and track me, you'll realize that I actually drink Coca-Cola. So again, this is why, like, just because someone's preferences doesn't map up with who they're actually seeing in the real world. That's the point. So like, this is why you get this perception in the Red Bull, where like, maybe there's these memes on TikTok where you get like these girls who say, "Oh, 6'3", this guy, that from women," and then they, even if it was true, I mean, not all women do that anyway, but even if it's true, it's like, yeah, but are these women getting with just those dudes? And the answer is no. Like, you know, and this is where you have to, again, if you ask every guy, like, oh, would you love like a supermodel, like 10 out of 10 woman? Yeah, but they're still like getting with like their 5 out of 10 woman. They're not going to leave their 5 out of 10 woman. Like, most guys are still in long-term committed relationships. This is why you can have like a fantasy as well, like, you know, people might get off to a fantasy or whatever, you know, like porn, but it doesn't mean they're hooking up with those sort of people. And this is what backed up with the data, because again, if it was a case of that all these average women want the Chad, then why is Chad not getting more women? He doesn't. In fact, Chad is getting less women in the past years than he used to. Chads were getting just as many, or top tier dudes, however you want to phrase it, in the 90s. Hasn't gone up, even though dating apps, even though social media, even though
the 90s, no way. There would be a drastic change. There's no data from the 90s.
There's a graph. I think there's Alex. There's a graph on it. Yeah, the reported sex partners for the guys, the top 20%, and then
the top 20
top 10% hasn't changed. In fact, it's gone down a bit in the past years. Guys in the top 20% are having less sex in 2023 than they were in 1990.
Yeah, with 1990s, the top guys had a real monopoly because it was much harder to become a celebrity.
Dating apps were meant to make it easier than ever for the top dudes, because that's
no, I don't believe that.
But that's not what we say, is it? Yeah, I know you don't, but others do. Many others do. Don't forget. And we see this.
Well,
I think it's only
I think in the 90s, status was way more important than looks. Like, looks became a bit more important, and maybe status became a little bit less important in the modern years because social media.
I mean, we can argue about. I mean, it's hard to know for sure one way.
Yeah, but I've thought a lot about it. I think that's pretty accurate.
I usually believe that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure where I stand. I'd have to think a bit more. I'm not sure if if it's more. I've thought about it before. I've gone between where I thought maybe looks was more apparent in the 90s and 20s. I would say this.
No way, man.
If you're a masculine man, you were definitely better in the 90s. Because the type of looks...
Yeah, that is for
sure.
Sure.
You think of like the 80s, the movies where it was all like muscular dudes, that was the time to be like your typical jock.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right? Now, you want to be the Ify soy boy, you want to be like the feminine, you want to be the androgynous, like, tranny looking dude, right? Whereas in the 80s and 90s, that would be looked down upon a lot more. So it's changed in that regard, that what's deemed, I guess, attractive. Because of the cultural zeitgeist, which changed over time. Okay, so give me a sec. Just copy actually.
We've been streaming for a couple of hours.
Yeah, I don't mind if you want to call it. It's 4.
I can't think of anything else. Maybe you can chat with these guys on Discord afterwards.
Maybe, but I haven't got that long.
Ooh. Alright.
I don't want to be. I've got a few things I want to do before it gets too late. It's 4 in the morning here.
Yeah, it's pretty late, right? Alright. Well, that was a good chat, man.
Yeah, I need to. Oh no, I'm trying to add this. You can tell I don't use Discord much. I found the add to friend thing. Bear with me. Boomer moment, right? No, I just don't go on Discord much, really. Yeah, it's only to talk to you, right?
No, Wild Bill is strictly Steam. He's been playing a wrestling game. He loves this wrestling game.
Yeah, I don't mind it. The irony is I don't watch wrestling, but I play the wrestling game.
Wrestling games are pretty cool.
When I was a kid, the Attitude Era. I loved like the Attitude Era of wrestling, but not anymore. Wrestling, I saw a bit of it's like gone completely woke. Women everywhere. Yeah. So what the fuck?
I saw the clip of like Stone Cold Steve Austin doing a Stone Cold Stunner on a woman. I was like, fucking hell, that was definitely a different era. That was like about 15 years ago.
You see some of the old, what they did, yeah, like they would beat the women. Of course, they had like bra and panties match that would be deemed like chauvinistic, sexist. Now, you know, women were seen as like just a gimmick, not a serious wrestling division.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it's like some of the pay-per-views are just like women are the main headlines. I've
Oh,
never
for
had
sure.
before. Women were just like eye candy. That's it, just pure
Yeah.
eye candy. They were never taken seriously. And also some of the skits that would be deemed like really racist now. I know, like
Oh,
things
really?
Like Vince
Oh,
McMahon
yeah.
did something, against like blacks, it would be deemed like really racist against them. Yeah, it was much more edgy. It was so much more edgy, the content in the 90s and early 2000s. It shows you really how such. I mean, I know in this sphere we talk about all the time the dating, but in many other areas of our society, socially, things have changed drastically. Really have, and that's why like they all go about the change dating market. Yeah, but in other areas, I find there's been way more change, like such drastic.
The hell did I
changes
do it or
in, like,
not?
Yeah, you know. Chaos says, am I still in contact with SBO? With SBO, no, because SBO's kind of gone. He's gone off grid.
He's gone off grid.
Not literally, but he's distanced himself from all of this. Which good luck to him. He's living in the real world. He's not, interested in this. So he kind of he changed his name. I won't say what it is, but I do have him, I think, on a gaming account. And I think it's his real name. But I think he's just become just normal. He's just not being involved in these spaces, which is good for him because he's a nice dude. Actually, he's a really nice dude. So yeah, I wish him all the best. So that's a good thing actually, because I think it's probably a damning thing if you're constantly in these communities. Sorry to say it, boyos, to blackpool you, but I think if you're stuck in these, it's not a good sign. I think probably a sign of progress is that you do naturally gravitate away from this community. Sorry to say it, but I don't know. I don't see many happy people in this community. I mean, I'm happy at the moment, but I think in general, people are in this sphere maybe because their life's not in a good place. So if someone's life gets in a better place, they don't feel the need to watch the content anymore or be involved.
Bobby Barrow says, I'm an Oofy Chad, which is a bad combo. I look handsome, but I act nice and not like a fuckboy. Oh, condolences, man.
Now, Chaos, I tried to add you on the Discord, but it didn't come up. But the username you gave me... Oh, mate, hold on. No, it says... hold on, maybe I'm adding the friend wrong. Oh no, another boomer moment. No, well... Sorry, I really don't know how to use Discord, do I? Alright. No, it is saying it didn't work. So, no, something's not right there. I don't know if it's... Maybe there's a space in it wrong. Well, okay, I hope that was you. So the invite's gone to someone. I think you put a space in the name when it wasn't meant to be. But, oh well. We'll see. Hope we don't get some, like,
It's called a
you
passport, man.
sent me a request, really? Let's see here. Inbox. For me. Oh, okay.
Maybe he wanted to
Is
join
that
in
you?
the chat.
Is that you? Okay, it must be you.
Probably him.
Chaos. Oh, hi. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Alright, that's good. At least I know. It's not just some random person. How do you know Chaos anyway? Chaos, you knew Icecat.
Yeah, I know
So
him.
from
He's
what
been in the community a while. He used to debate Face and LMS, and he was on one episode.
Oh, did he?
He was on one episode of
Oh, okay.
Incelmatics.
Ah, so he's been around a while. Okay,
Quite a while, yeah.
that's interesting. Is he American?
Yeah, American, yeah. I think American, Asian,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. Oh, okay. So does he agree? What's his position? Like,
Well, he seems to agree a lot with you.
you can say in the chat, obviously. But...
He seems to agree a lot with your views.
Oh, okay. So I guess he disagreed with Face and LMS. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can definitely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I don't mind like talking.
Well,
Something
he
like
could have
that.
come on this chat, maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like, at the end of the day, I don't mind. Even if you're like look some guy, it's fine as long as you're like willing to have, like, me and Ice Cat disagree in a lot of things.
Winning.
It's fine. Like, as long as you're open to like someone else's viewpoint, and you're not just like a zealot or like a cultist, and you're like, oh, you don't believe exactly how I think, so therefore, you know, you're just not going to engage in a debate. Like, I enjoy debating, and to be honest, it's always better to debate with people who disagree with you, because if you talk with someone who agrees with everything you say, it's like an echo chamber, and it's just boring. Like, it's like a hug box, because you both agree with each other, so what's the point in, like, so it's actually better. You know, you don't want someone who's like really hostile to someone who disagrees with you. But the best medium is someone that disagrees with you on certain points, but is okay to meet you halfway on certain things, or at least agree to disagree. Like, be like, okay, we both have an opinion, but you know, you present both your sides of your argument. You know, it's also someone who's not too stubborn to like admit where they might be wrong. Because if someone never will admit they're wrong on anything, then it's pointless. Because even if you have like the best argument or the best evidence, their ego is never going to allow them to say, oh yeah, you actually, maybe I'm wrong, you know.
That's
like,
a good song.
And like, if I'm wrong on things, it's fine, because I don't have anything vested. Like, just for example, I used to believe in some, like, obviously aspects of Black Pill and Red Pill at times. Like, I have been willing to change my opinion when the evidence, like, presented itself. Like, you know, originally I was a Blue Pillar, and then it became, like, MGTOW. Well, no, originally it was, like, PUA. Then it went into MGTOW. Then it was just like kind of Red Pill in general, because I was like a bit unsure. And then that's when I got into Hoka, and it slowly went more towards like Black Pill, right? Like, I started to lose faith in obviously MGTOW and EUA, and then I started to believe more in Luxism. I did believe in Luxism strongly for a while, but then I started to like hear it was Oofy Doofy that then made me doubt Luxism, because I was like, well, if Luxism's so true, how can Oofy Doofy be a thing? And I don't agree with everything in Oofy Doofy, and I think Oofy Doofy is also over-exaggerated. Like, people will over-exaggerate things, but it does exist to some degree, and the fact that it even exists to some degree shows that Luxism is not law.
Get £0
It's
delivery
not
fee on all
what
grocery
they've made it
orders.
out to be,
Uber
that
One,
it's
a
like
membership
set
for
in
people
stone.
who
No,
find and go places.
it's very complex, the dating market. There's all these
What did you
different
say to it?
factors that are going into it that it's very difficult. That's the thing, and this is why people can argue different things, because it's actually really, really hard, and I don't think anyone knows the exact formula. No one does. There's all these different variables, but to just simply brush it all away and go, oh, it's looks, and if you got it, then it's everything, and if not, you know, no, that's not true.
It's hard to know the recipe. Well, I guess start winding down, man.
Okay, so yeah, he sent me a couple of answers in terms of like Tinder usage and attractiveness.
Hello, we got a new guy in the chat. Some dude. Well,
yeah, it's like roughly similar to what I said, yeah, so much is true. Like, yeah, he's basically what he's showing me. He's like saying that, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, dating apps usage is a minority of people. It's not, you should not use any data on the real world. And the funny thing is that you can even meet halfway, because it turns out that only 8% of men are having sex and 7% of women have sex with dating apps. It's such a small number that it's almost like a niche. It's kind of irrelevant when you're looking at dating in general. Exactly, and the last one he said, like the rise in sexlessness, and of course the graph he showed me is the 2018 one. It's not 28% anymore chaos. It's actually only 15 or 14. I don't know what 14 or 15% 2023 or 2022 I think it was. So yeah, if it was 80-20 rule, yeah, exactly, it would be 80% of men hardly getting any sex, but it's not true, is it? It's just bullshit.
that's that bullshit, man.
And I've actually heard it argued that you could flip the 80-20 rule around the other way, that like 20% of the women get sex or something. I've heard that. I don't know exactly what it means, but I think it means that, like, again, and it would make sense because there's a small amount of women that are very promiscuous. Most women actually don't like to sneak around, and that's what it is. Most women are actually surprisingly boring, like in terms of like, if you want women to be slutty, most women are not like, basically, like, look at Destiny's ex, right? She's crazy, right? And so again, if you look at, women just want like cuckolds and all. No, she's like an outlier. Like most women don't behave like her. But the problem is when you see women online and women in these communities, maybe because you're not interacting much in the real world, you think that most women behave like 304s. No, they don't. Like 304s are a very minority, very small minority of women. Most women are actually quite boring. Like they're just monogamous, serial monogamy. They'll seek to get in a relationship with a man, and it actually stays surprisingly loyal. Cheating again is something that's overrated. Like people say it's happening much more often than it actually is, which is kind of a white pill in a way. If you get into a relationship.
Oh, my music is drowning out your voice. There you go. Sorry about that. My music was drowning out your voice. I turned the volume down now.
That's fine.
I was gonna do a really funny impression before I ended the stream.
Go on, go ahead.
Alright, you watching?
Yeah.
Alright, who's this? That was a really bad impression, but
I've not heard it yet. Behind.
no, it was what I was doing. I guess I'll repeat it. It wasn't a very good impression. Hello?
Okay, sorry. I'm not sure who it is.
It was a guy who coomed on stream.
Oh, Todd.
Yeah, what a legend. Merry, if Todd is watching this, whenever, Merry Christmas, dude. Like, great year for the fucking.
Yeah, sure. Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas. And
I know.
chat.
Even if he doesn't come back, he provided us with such great content, man. Definitely one of the goats, man.
Thanks for the best impression. I don't have a deep enough voice. Maybe Ice Cat can do it. It wouldn't sound good.
I can give it a try. It's over. He used to say that. He's like, if a woman isn't attracted to your looks, it's over. He'd say stuff like that, do you remember?
I also remember, I'm trying to remember offhand, my favourite interest, well, one of the things that made me laugh between Hocker and Bill, and it was, I'm trying to get it right, but I can't, it's like where, basically, Bill's catchphrase was always, it's in your face, can't you see it? It's in your face, it's in your face, and it was a hilarious interchange when, I'm trying to remember what Hocker was saying, but Hocker, he was saying something, and it's like, it's in your face, and then Hocker's like, it's in your face, and then Bill's like, oh yeah, I can handle it, I can swat it. He said something that sounded very sexual, and it's literally, I remember, like I said in Dashboard, like, it was about 5-10 seconds where it was literally like, it's in your face, man. It's like, yeah, I know, it's in my face, I can, and something like, I can't remember the word, I don't know if it was as far as swatted, but it was something that just sounded so sexual, and I remember in the chat, I was like, what the fuck?
He used to say, like
5-10 seconds.
I could have been one of those. I could have been a contender. I could have been one of those supplicators. He used to say, because when Oofy Doofy was a cutting edge theory, no one had heard about it before.
Yeah.
Hoker used to say like he had a girlfriend, but he said like he didn't know how to act with her, and he said if he had acted like an Oofy Doofy, he would have kept that relationship.
Guys are not getting laid.
He used to say like,
horny as I once was.
I could have been one of those supplicators. Poor dude, if the off chance Hoker's watching,
You're incel in denial.
Merry Christmas, man. Alright, I think it's time. We've been streaming 2 hours 11 minutes on this stream.
Yeah, time to call it.
I think we're gonna call it, guys. It's been really great. If you have any final questions, get them in now, or else I'm gonna shut this one out. But we'll be back, right, Bill?
Yeah, sure, yeah, we can do it.
Is there any chance of Game Pass being brought back? Yeah, thanks, man. I guess not.
Maybe. Well, it depends, man.
Alright. Whatever. Well, we'll chat
Well,
about it.
I don't want to like. I might not have the time to do as much gaming.
Wait a second. Wait just a minute. How much is Sea of Thieves just on its own though?
Well, it was sales, but the sales have ended, so it's probably gone back up now.
Would you have to get it on
I'll
Xbox,
go
right?
Yeah. He was like, look, it's not as horny as it used to be. And I also remember when he had that talk. One of my
16 quid.
that a lot of people don't remember was the talk with Jamie Purple Bill.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He was talking about the dating, and Hocker was getting really into it. He was like, "Oh,
Good
you
night,
gotta
sex
give me a
addict, man.
woman.
Nice
You gotta
seeing
give
you."
me a woman," like, and just he was getting like really into it, and he wanted to know all like the details of Jamie with like this woman.
Yeah, wasn't it like
And
some
he was like,
ugly
"Oh,
woman?
I might get laid, you know." Yeah, good night, sex addict.
Hey, good night for all of us. Good night, everyone. So yeah, we'll be back when at some point. Hopefully, maybe this week, next week, or something. Because Christmas is the time for good streams, right? We had some great streaming last Christmas. We should have some great streaming this Christmas. How about just the Manosphere? How's about just that?
I don't. Well, I know it's in the 2023 trend to identify stuff, right? I mean, people struggle to identify what gender they are these days, but no, I don't identify as anything in the Manosphere. I just don't see need to put a tag to myself. I think the problem with a lot of men in this sphere, many spheres, is they make their ideology become their identity, and then once that happens, in that ideology, and you will defend it to the hilt. It's no longer about truth. It's about just defending whatever ideology, because that's become your identity. So this is why people can get very hostile, whether it's MGTOWs or Black Pillars, if you critique their ideology, because it's like an attack on their identity. So they take it very personally. When even though you're not, you're attacking the ideology. It's not meant to be attacking them personally, but they will perceive it that way because they've let it become their identity. So ideally, you don't want to be. So this is why, like, I have no problem with, like, if what I believe turns out to be false, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's not going to affect me in any way, and I'll be okay, all right, I'll change how I view, because I'm not invested in a certain ideology, and that's the best way to be. So I don't think it's a good idea to identify as anything particularly in the Manosphere. You should just be you, and you should just see what, viewpoints of the world and what the data indicates, and then just use that to your benefit. And depends, because if you want to seek truth, then just go with what you believe to be true. So you shouldn't be like, well, I'm like a certain thing, right? Because as soon as you pigeonhole yourself to that, it's going to be hard at some point to break out from that. So if the evidence then goes against what you've believed for so long, it can be hard to shake you from that, right? There's often the critique that gets thrown at, like, blue pillars or boomers that are too set in their old ways. You can't change their opinion. So the best way to be is to be like a free spirit in terms of, look, I just go with what I believe is true. Now, if there's evidence and the situation or reality changes, then I might have to reevaluate what I think. And that's the most intellectually honest position to be at. Otherwise, you're just like, it's like the whole debate between, like, say, like PlayStation fanboys or Xbox. Now, one console could be objectively better than the other, but you get these fanboys that no matter how good, say, like the Xbox is compared to the current PlayStation or vice versa, they will never admit it. Why? Because they're just defending their ideological position. They are a PlayStation fanboy. It's their identity. So it doesn't matter about truth anymore.
I identify as Red Pillar. Yeah! Keep grinding, boys. Never get up. We can make it. Keep grinding, keep hustling. Hit the gym. Hit the weights. Do your cold approaches. Study your PUA. You're gonna make it, boys. Yeah, Red Pill, yeah! What do you reckon?
I would say, look, no one gets to choose the cards they're dealt in life, but you can choose how to play them.
Great. And on that note, I think I'm gonna press stop streaming. Oh, here we go. One last one. Do you like one date, Ham? Well, I think Bill is actually quite high standards. he doesn't mind, you know, waiting it out, you know, until he finds the one, you know. You're kind of similar to Dashboard in that respect, you know. You have similar high standards.
I'm actually not as it might be why I'm but you know, I'm more content with myself, like happier mood, so I'm not actually.
I was just joking about that PUA stuff, by the way. Or was I?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not as, how would I put it, like, a few years ago, I was more, like, anxious, to get, like, women. Maybe because I'm a bit older now, I'm actually not as, the desire's dropped a bit. I'm not as, like, you know, yeah, sure, I'm not like MGTOW, I still would like it, but I'm comfortable. Like, if it doesn't happen, I'm not, like, panicking, oh, look, I'm not, so be it. Like, I'm a bit more content and at ease with the situation. Like, the irony is that I'm probably a true MGTOW. What I mean is I don't identify with MGTOW or the ideology, but I don't, like, obsess over women
You
all the
are,
time.
you really are. I think you are, yeah. You're quite similar to the true, the true definition of it.
Women.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't need to build up, like, this sort of revenge fantasy or whatever. I just accept it for what it is.
You are just a man going his own way, yeah. You really are, it's true.
Yeah, and that's why some of the OG MGTOWs were actually alright. The OG ones, the ones that had the original message.
Well, they were all divorced. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop on that. We'll catch you guys next week. Alright, peace out, everyone.